Hey, Raji. Oh, when the saints, hey, Jolly, right? Oh, marching in. Oh, when the saints go marching in. Oh, how I want to be in that rumble. And the saints go marching in. Oh, when the sun refused to shine. Oh, when the sun refused to shine. Oh, how I want to be in that number. When the sun refused to shine. Doing fine, doing fine. I guess I need to get anything Rick rolling here. Oh, when the saints go marching in. Oh, when the saints go marching in. Can you post GIFs on? Can. Oh, how I want to be in that number. Saints go marching in. Oh, when the saints go marching in. Oh, when the saints marching in. Oh, how I want to be in that number. Oh, when the saints go marching in. Oh, when the saints. Hammer Time is where you submit educational content, Reddit posts, TikToks, YouTube videos. And I tell you whether it's garbage or not. Oh, how I want to be in a number. Let's get a good quality meme here. Yo. All right, Vrashi, what do we got here? Oh, glad to hear it, Vrashi. Yeah, it was fun. I had a good time with the live coaching. Hey. New game mode. Maybe. Did they do an announcement or something? Am I missing something? Was there a new, like, thingy? Or is that just kind of... Oh, man. Hey, what's up, Sai? Hey, Quack. Hey, Cager. Think that could be a new coaching format? Maybe. I've been doing some thought into live coaching. We'll see. Yes, this is a coaching session right now. We're gonna do a 30-minute replay review, and then we're getting some hammer time. The roadmap. Ah, okay. I'd go back in time and die of dysentery. Doing both of us a favor. Probably best for a Fallout coaching, never for a first one. I agree, Virashi, for the most part. Do you think Season 6 is stacked enough to save the Overwatch people in cancellation drama? If I save Overwatch, do you mean keep Overwatch relevant? Obviously, Overwatch will be fine. But if I save, do you mean remove the negative influence of having promises broken yet again? Then the answer is no. It's going to take a hit. If the future decisions that they make moving forward the rest of the next year or two are good, then Overwatch will do more than do well. It will do great. But we will remain to be seen. See, what Overwatch is they're in a situation where no one decision is going to really screw the pooch. They need to consistently make good decisions. So we will see. Remains to be seen. Okay. Let's look at some Tracer here. Let's pull up Virashi's form. Plat 1 Tracer. Exactly, Jolly Rat time. Exactly. How many hours of sleep do you get per night on average? LOL. What do you have to get out of the session? Better prioritize overview of my Tracer weaknesses. Get a nice list of things to work on, which probably include timing, trigger discipline, and angles. Yes. What are your long-term, short-term goals in Overwatch? Short-term, get my Tracer up to par with my Ashe. Long-term, stabilize well within mid-diamond instead of the plat diamond edge. Okay. Virashi, everything that I can advise you in terms of specifics is probably going to be already taken care of. So we will we'll start, and we'll see where we can go from there. Okay, chat. Let's take a look. Personally, this is a bit more of... Okay, so what kind of angle do you generally look for as Tracer? Yeah, I'll adjust the rank while you guys are answering this question. What type of angle do you guys look for? If you were to describe it using an adjective. Behind, right, deep. So using that information, chat, what angle or what flank should we be taking at this point in time? Right stairs, right. So this is not bad. You can use this one if you're here but even here, you're really not wanting to stay inside this room most of the time. You're using this as a staging ground to then wrap all the way further left. Or you can come through here, blinkety blank through here, or blinkety blank up through here. I don't want you to sit here and play patty cake here too long. And you can see that it's a little bit easier for them to compress on you from this side here. I would rather you to wrap around from the right side. It's going to be a little bit easier. That is exceedingly unfortunate. Yes, think pathing for a better, deeper flank will help this to feel so much better. Hello. Hey, Lightwaves. Go, go, go. Chill. Ha! So, here's what you could do to make this better. If you're looking to stage the angle, do so now, once they're at least starting to turn around, or you go to actually utilize, if you see them hard leaning right, that's when you go left. You see, the reason why this angle didn't work here is, besides I like right objectively more, the other problem is then if you use your eyeballs, you could see in here that there's even just the Hanzo's positioning alone makes this flank a lot less attractive. So if you see them leaning, at least just one person leaning towards this side, this makes this side a lot more attractive. You're like, well, the Cassidy's here. Yes, but it's just the Cassidy. So then at this point in time, go to the opposite way. Wherever they are strong, go to the weak side for your pathing. If they are strong on this side, go to the other side for your pathing. So for you, it needs to be more about finding what's going to be the easiest way of wrapping around in the backline based off of their current positioning, and then take a flank as a result. So here you see they're all right. Let's go left. Yeah, exactly, Grigor. The first smart thing that you said ever. Here, left is wide open, so take left. Wait for your ball. I wouldn't even be necessarily going in very hard right now because of your ball. If anything here, you hear the dragon and you see your ball and spawn, what could we be doing right now, chat? What could we be doing right now? You're either engaging as Tracer or you're setting up. Right. So right now, this is a flank, this is an angle, but why not, while we're waiting for our ball and waiting for our team to walk forward, take a better position. Hit over here. Go over here. Deepen the flank. Pull the Hanzo further away from his team. Right. So during this downtime, think, can I set up a deeper angle? Can I set up a deeper flank? And the answer is here. Yes, you can. You're tanking here, and so that means that your angle doesn't feel near as comfy. It feels a lot more chaotic. Good. Huh. Unfortunate. Now set up. Ball body block. Brilliant. Oh my gosh. You see, this is the thing. A lot of your pathing is through angles that you know are already contested. You see this? So you're trying to set up flanks here, but you already know they're spamming through here. You can see the spam. You can see the E here. For crying out loud, Ramantra is throwing E here. And yet that is the angle that you choose to try and stage from. So your intentions are good, but you're not thinking, oh, they're here, I'm gonna take the other flank. Oh, they're here, I'm gonna take the other flank. If they're spamming here, don't set up here. Also, objectively, once again, the right side is better through this pathing here or this pathing here. But my main point here is that even if this side was better, if they were here, I want you to go left. If they are here, I want you to go right. You're running, right, you're running into spam. You're running into spy check. You're running into people. Nice. Did he roll through that? I think he rolled through that. That's crazy. Literally could not be better. 9 HP, and he gets the mega health back. Oh, man. It's okay. Take the duel. And then what's the mistake here, guys? What's the mistake here? Micro mistake. What do you guys think? How do you take this duel? Right. You either bait a little, or you crouch, or you blink out of the choke, right? His crosshair is sitting right on that corner, and you just walked right into it. Very predictable movement. Yep. So you're immediately down your recall, and now you've lost the 1v1 essentially, so you can't even push it. Wrap around right. I think this is also a situation where, like, you need to grab the mega. Now you're in with your ball. Very good. You're by yourself, so you better be confident winning this 1v1. You should be. It's okay. Recall. Very nice. Very, very nice. Good timing, good off angle, good setup, good use of your movement and your blinks. Would like you to go back top right. Okay, take the position. Yeah, did a great job with that movement. So a little greedy. And by the way, you guys see the same mistake here in terms of the micro? You see it? Again, crosshair play. Look at this Cassidy's crosshair placement. His crosshair is already aimed here, and you just peek right here, right at him. So here, create a blink. But you do it again by being here and then just kind of walking forward. Mate, you have almost three blinks here. This is how you die doing this stuff. You've got to blink through, shoot, blink back, shoot, duck behind cover. You see what I'm saying? You're kind of like corner peeking as Tracer, and we don't love to see it. Nice. I probably would gatekeep backline. I would probably get, it's probably a higher risk return on investment than what you're doing now. Like the Orisa lives too long, and then now you've given up this high ground to them. So probably would have been better to just been patient and control that space. Ha! You're so funny, Gregor. Just the funniest guy I know. Such a funny little guy. See, kind of like what you're doing here is all right. Good. Easy stuff. Good. Genji's there, so just hold. Now you need to try and set up a flank if you can. Unfortunate. Genji killed you. Literally, Genji killed you. Definitely a harder point for Tracer. Nice. Good wraparound. Slow on the recall there. That's all right. Go. So now now here's the thing. If they had been stuffing right, I would have said go either main or left. They're not stuffing right, so now you can go right. Remember, the main focus here is to pick the flank that makes sense for your hero, makes sense for the situation. Don't need to recall this because you have 2 blinks, right? Recall can be used as a second blink, but only use it as a second blink or a last second blink if you don't already have a blink. Take the angle, move. They're not contesting you here, so take it. Don't sit here and shoot. Keep wrapping. Keep wrapping. Keep wrapping. Remember, when there's a little bit of downtime, keep wrapping. Easier access to the squishies that you want. You were afraid of the Junkrat one-shot there? I was right in his face, but you had 2 blinks. You had 2 blinks. You don't need to be worried about the one-shot as long as you have blinks. Oh my days. Okay. Blinkety blinkety blink. Oh. Okay, so you're having a little bit of a harder time on third time actually setting up. I would put a little bit more emphasis on as quickly as you can getting to their backline, so you're not playing patty cake and short sightlines with a Genji. It's a bit of a mess. So as a Tracer, should we never corner peek? Let's put it this way. As a Tracer versus a hit scan or anything with range pressure, corner peeking is very messy. I would say if it's like a Tracer duel, no. Or anything where you get that you're not worried about like a lot of pressure, it's fine. But you need to be very careful about walking into their crosshair. You can absolutely corner peek to bait a shot. That's actually really, really powerful against heroes like Zenyatta and Hanzo or Widowmaker, where you like bait a shot and then corner peek after they've fired. Anything that like charges a right click, let's say the Hanzo and ducks an arrow and fires, the Widow scopes, and then you peek it and she fires and then she's vulnerable, right? Thanks for the sub, Dong Waggler. But the corner peeking against a hero that is just rapid fire, you don't actually corner peek and commit. You corner peek almost to bait, and then you actually engage. Very important that you get that right. Remember what we talked about with pathing. I appreciate you taking an angle, but you're by yourself. And remember, you got to go quick.
You got to go quick. This is too vulnerable. They're going to mark you there. So you're either going to go quickly and brute force it, or you wait for your ball or somebody else to set up and engage. They're marking you, so wait. Now you can go, because the Genji's going to be distracted. Okay, we're nanoed. Go. I wouldn't worry time with that. I wouldn't worry time with that, I say. Now priority is living on the back line. Priority is living on the back line. Sure. Not the end of the world. Wrap through left, I think. Yeah. Now wrap far. Set up, set up, set up. Good. Set up, set up, set up. From here, this is you just chill, right? Good trigger discipline there. Very good. That's going to set up a very nice and juicy kill. It's going to set up another nice and juicy kill. Nice. Very good. Get her, get her, get her, get her. Sick him, sick him. Oh, that's unlucky. That's okay. Not bad. Basically should have dribbled or triple blink further back. Right. So it's very similar to what was happening on the first point. I need you to be decisively setting up flanks and try to set them up in locations where they aren't stopping you or where they aren't marking you. Wrap around away. In points like this, that's why this point is so hard, is because it's very easy for them to mark any angle or flank that you try to set up on. So you kind of have to hard commit. You have to hard commit and try and maybe do it off of your balls. Like, for example, right now, this left flank is wide open. Take it right now. Go right now. Don't force the fight. Wrap. Wrap. Yes. Now you're good. Get him. It's okay. Good try. It's gonna count either way. Don't peel back. Stay in the back line. Go grab a health pack. Good. Yeah, I enjoy them too, good work. Okay, so main thing for you is setup. Setup for you is very ugly. You have a hard time getting through without getting one shot. You need to do a better job respecting where they are and go to find the other angle or the other flank to set up. And the little corner peeking micro. Those are the two things I'm putting a little bit more emphasis on right now. Let's keep watching a little bit more. Do you have any questions so far, Varashi? I have an idea. I don't know if we're going to have time to do it today, but I was thinking what might be fun is if we did a Patreon, like a pug, and had you play Tracer on this map again, and then review it afterwards. I'm really tempted to do that. I'm really tempted to do that. We might do that. So we give you an opportunity to actually practice a little bit what we talked about. Maybe do some live coaching, you know what I'm saying? Have I coached Life Fever before? No, but I can. I'm avoiding it right now, but I could. Hey, how's it going, mate? I'm doing fine. Life Fever coaching equals switch. Pretty much. Good angle. Timing here is obviously fine. You're setting up a distraction. It's fine. Now you can go back. He's no longer a factor, so you can touch. This is fine. I think you could have cleaned this one up mechanically a lot better, but the strategy of what you're doing is fine. Remember that he can do this, though. That's so corny, man. That's actually hilarious. That's okay. I assume that more time is going to be spent on this. Okay, so let's see. So you're a little early here. You need to again use your wall hacks here to decide when you want to be pressuring. And see, now your ball's in, and you're not actually in. Timing issue here. Not to sound like a broken record, but no, you got to do it. You got to do it. I'm 8-1 in rank since our coaching session. You're a legend, bro. Hey, listen, everybody goes on win streaks. Not to be that guy, but the only thing that you're doing better right now is you're more confident. I'm not to rain on your parade, but there's two types of people. People that get coaching sessions and go on loss streaks because they're limit testing and trying new things, or people that go on win streaks at work that go from the confidence of the coaching session. But neither of those is like, oh, I'm the greatest coach of all time. That's temporary. Come back to me in a couple of weeks and see how you're doing. And even then, coaching is just like a nudge. Coaching is such a small percentage of like what makes a player good. So I'm glad to hear it, but either you deserve all the credit or nobody deserves all the credit and you just got lucky. I appreciate the kind words, but I think maybe you're just the GOAT. Nice job, by the way, Rashi. Shut down immediately? Yes. I mean, I think it's important. I don't know. You shouldn't get too hyped up. You shouldn't get too bummed out. If you go 1-8 after coaching session, if you go 8-1 after coaching session, you know, just play the game. It happens. My job is to suck the fun out of everything. If you win, it's luck. If you lose, it's luck. Everything sucks. Life is miserable. Give it up. Okay, angle here is fine. Pay very close attention to your wrecking ball. You're doing this corner peek thing, you know? You're doing this corner peek thing. It's not just the fact that you're early here. It's not just the fact that you're peeking a Hanzo. You're also keep sticking your head at like the same sight line in the same spot. And he's just gonna keep spamming that angle until you walk into the log. You know? And there's just no reason for that. The most important issue there was the timing. But it is another small example of where you are not really paying, you're not really making it hard for them to shoot you. By the way, just enjoy this, ladies and gentlemen. Oh no. I respect the committal. She might have ice block by now. Nice! He clutched it. But we still lose. Go limit test some bosses. I mean, for real. Set up, reset. I ain't gonna say it anymore. I'm just gonna snap my fingers and point every time I see it happen. Yes, the console players are 100% worse just because of the limitations of console. However, every console player that I've coached that has transitioned to PC has done really, really well. So it's just the nature of the console itself. It's nothing to do with console players in general. I mean, console players do tend to be a little bit older, a little bit younger, but it's almost entirely irrelevant. Again here, by the way. Again here. Have I ever coached anybody in Switch? No. You're standing in one spot and you're corner peeking. He's walking into you. Where do you think his crosshair is going to be, right? This is not great crosshair placement from him, but you see how easy that shot could have been for him. This is when you wait. As soon as you see his hitbox, blink, shoot, right? Will Varashi's VOD review be a VOD review on Spilo 2? Yeah, I mean, every stream goes on to Spilo 2. Good try. Doesn't end up hitting. I think you're cooked. If you're not cooked, you are cooked. Is that it? Oh my gosh, the buzz. Okay, chat, I'm gonna do it. You know what, screw it. Varashi, blink right towards the mini. Chat, are there any gold, plat, or diamond players in the chat right now? And Varashi, are you available? And gold, plat, or diamond on whatever roll. Okay, let's set something up right now. I need, if you are, I'm going to set up a custom game, and I'm going to invite Varashi. I need a battle tag, roll, and a rank. Is nobody online? Oh, okay. You don't need to be warmed up. This isn't a performance. I'm not going to be spectating you. Don't worry. Okay, that's fine, Varashi. Go ahead. Barry, nice try, Barry. Mostly just coach. Okay. What do we got here? Oh, Kermie, what rank are you on tank? I'm considering inviting up to masters as well, maybe. But I prefer if even if you're just like diamond on an off roll, that would be best. Plat 1. Okay, perfect. So Kermie at tank. Masters and all rolls. Artifice, support, diamond 2. Perfect. I know Gagor is pretty flexible here. Gold 3 in support. Perfect. No, don't apologize for oh, I'm gonna do badly. No. None of that shenanigans. I'm not gonna even put a ton of effort into the matchmaking here. Do the best that I can. Lightwaves, what rank are you at nowadays? Fantasia, plat DPS, perfect. It's weird, I didn't copy. Whoops, that's because I copied too much. Diamond 4 tank, okay, perfect. You need only a few more. Wait, I think I put a space in there. Yeah, there you go. Oh, just let me know when you're on, Fantasia. D2 support, plat DPS. Okay. I can't copy this. Hello? Super confusing. D2 support, plat DPS. Move to support for now. NG Wolf. Let's try and get Fantasia, what am I saying? Fantasy in now. Plat DPS. Unbound support, gold DPS, plat tank. I think we're good for tank, but I will get you for support. Who's the Skypad? Did I invite this fight the Skypad, or did somebody sneak in here? I think Skypad snuck in here. Just to suffer on DPS. Okay, Varashi, we're good to go. So chat, that's going to be it for now. I'll open up the spectators if you guys want to hop in the spectate, and I'll go max spectators if you guys want to watch. Just search Spilo's game. I'll just say Spilo game, just so it's easier to look for. And I'll do everybody can look in if you want to come spectate. Okay, so here's the rules. No need for Discord. Use team voice if you want, doesn't matter. Be nice. Pick whatever. This isn't even a pug. Just coaching's foolishness. Appreciate y'all helping me out. Varashi? Waiting for Varashi to answer the call. Hello.
Yeah, man.
How are you?
Good, good, good.
Okay, give me 1 second. And like I said, you guys can feel free to join and watch if you'd like to. Okay. Should be able to move you to spec. Okay, you ready to go?
Yep.
So what we want to see are you taking good angles and flanks to try and stage safely away from where you're being marked. And then I want if they do pick some sort of hit scan or with Zen, Mei, Inji, anything that can like span an angle, try to either peek carefully when they can't see you, or create space by blinking over to the opposite side.
Yep.
All right, you ready?
Right.
Let's go.
Yep.
Should be starting in just a second. We'll let everybody load in. Might be a little bit because everyone's coming from different. There it is. Okay. Good luck. I will call for you. Wait, is this quick play or is this competitive? Give me 1 second. I'm gonna make sure it's actually competitive. Give me 1 second. I didn't realize I didn't actually set it. Oh, why is it on Oasis? Oh my gosh. Give me a second. Wait. Okay, this should be good. Now that everyone's thoroughly confused.
Those are some old boomer PCs.
Yeah, yeah.
No, a Series X now.
Huh. Okay. Let's see what you do.
Alright, I might just mute the voice just to not get confused by two different...
Yeah, I would not be in team voice if I were you.
Yeah. Or else it's gonna be too much.
Huh.
Besides, don't want to get flamed by the teammates.
Yeah, I know. My viewers are pretty toxic, so you need to watch out.
I know, I'm one of them.
I can't tell if I attract people or I mold people. I'm not sure which type. It's a little bit concerning either way.
So now I'm worried. They've seen me do this on the VOD, so I'm kind of worried they're going to be checking this.
They might. I mean, it's Grigor, so he's gonna be spy checking for sure.
Oh, I got a Doom with me, so. Yep.
Yeah. It's okay.
Yeah, I gotta go.
Unlucky. You died to my moderator. That's a shame.
Let's give him that.
Yeah.
Oof. Okay. This is lost.
Mm-hmm. Just set up your angle, set up your flank. Where's the fight gonna start? What are you gonna do about it? You can pursue that if you want. Unfortunate. Good try. So Grigor is really hunting for you. Really hunting for you. So I want you to try and be constantly aware of where he's positioned. And either avoid his sightline or engage in him. One or the other. Nice. Good. Very nicely done. They're gonna pursue though because you are down a few. Nice, get out of here. You're good. Alright. Set up, go. You're okay, you're okay. Reset. This angle's uncontested, so you can set up here.
They kind of know I'm here.
That's okay.
Oh, trees and spawn.
Very nice. Very erratic movement. Very hard to track. Okay. And wait, and then get a good big pulse. Nobody's contesting this angle, so easy, easy, easy touch. Nice. Very nice. Now, this team is going to... You're the focus of the VOD review, so even though there's a lot of space on second point, when they see you, they are going to focus you, because it's funny to kill people like you, right? So even though you have space, it's going to feel like that attack where they're going to be looking for you. So focus.
Oh, right. Need health.
Mm-hmm. He's there.
There's too much downtime this.
Yeah, yeah. We'll talk about that after this. Focus. The problem was when you initially traded with Grigor out there, you pushed, burned 3 blinks, and then recalled it and had to run all the way out, and then they push. Your timing there was poor. So that point, remember, always try to be second fiddle, right? Because that your downtime was a result of that engage. It put you in a hole for 25 seconds afterwards. Good. Fine. It's fine. A little bit faster with the recall. You had the advantage of that duel. I would have liked to have seen you push that further after you grabbed the mini and she blinked out. I would have liked a little bit more aggression.
Yeah, Tracer duels are one of my biggest weaknesses in terms of duels.
Mm-hmm. Now, this is where you're going to really have the flex, what we talked about in the review. So find the angle, find the flank, whether left or right, but I want you to react based off of what you're given and to use that flank.
Right.
Hammer time is still to come.
It's a slightly amped up difficulty, but I guess that's not a bad thing.
No, it's not. It's not. It's much more punishing for the exact same mistakes that you'd make in rank, so a little bit of a weight vest going on here.
Yep.
Exclamation mark hammer time. We're going to be looking at some of the educational submitted content, whether it's good or whether it's bad. I will let you know.
Yeah, corner peeking was a big thing though. I didn't really realize I was doing that.
It might be a habit from playing hitscan, where the corner peak feels more of a neutral trade, where you also have a lethal threat on that peak. But as Tracer, obviously, that's not really the case. Something
I think
you
it
can't keep in mind.
stems where I want to know where they are before I actually commit, and so I want to kind of look behind the corner instead of blinking and then flipping my aim, trying to find them.
But when you do know where they are, then you don't need to corner peek. Okay, react to what you're given, choose the flank from what you see. Alright, let's get healing.
Oh, come on.
Yep. Oh my goodness, you got one tapped.
Wow.
Now, that's a little bit of a budget example of the corner peek, right? Where I don't think you realized they knew you were there, but you touched point, so they turn around, and then you peek the corner. Do you see that?
Mm-hmm.
So you gave them away with your positioning, and then just turned the corner. Still a great shot, but similar to what we talked about. Read and react.
Shit, no.
This man helped me go from
Hey!
diamond in our
2-4.
Thanks for the sub, mate.
150 out 2. Listen to the
So
Bible.
there, right? And he's going left, so I should probably go right side again. I think we're holding both.
Yeah. Now patience here. Fights engaged. Let's go. You can even pressure point if you want. Get out. Get out. Get out. Get out. Get out. Don't have your recall. Nice. Play your life. Would have preferred you to blink out towards spawn and be a little bit more decisive with what you wanted to do when you get behind. Touch point would have been good. Assassinate backline would have been good. You didn't really do either. So be a little bit more decisive. You did a good job getting through though. Let's see it again. Uh-huh. Good.
Yeah, too slow and gave them too much of a chance to do that.
So I'm going to be honest with you, I do not like that far right side that you're going through. It's way too long of a sight line, way too easy to mark. I'd rather almost you walk up through main and then take an angle from there.
Just here now.
Yeah, just or through that mega room right here.
Through
Yeah.
this,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Okay, let's move, 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 move. You have plenty of time to set up. Let's go. Go.
Yeah, left side.
Yep. Keep moving, keep moving. Nice. Okay. Deep in left. Yep, there you go. Go for it. Nicely done. Oh, she's there. Unlucky.
Ah,
Well played though. Very well played. We'll blame ping on that one. You're on what? 140?
120.
20?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, we got it.
Yeah, you got it. You won the fight off that. You didn't even realize it. Huh. Now they're there. Do you contest them or do you just run away from them and take a flank? That's your call.
I'm gonna set up.
There's a translocator to your left. Yeah.
I am
Oh.
so dead.
You're good. Keep running, keep running, keep running. Okay. So go to
gonna
go
help
to their
back here,
second
is it?
point spawn, because that summer's gonna be looking for you. Yeah, there you go. Grab that mega from here. It's a lot of attention spent on you, so let's go back in now. So you know where the fight is. This is not where you want to be.
Fight is
Yeah,
Little
take the high
bridge.
ground, take the high ground. Very good. Very good. You're good.
Oh.
You're good. Stay on it. That's fine. That EMP was designed solely for you, so if it makes you feel any better. But you're a little bit slow to reposition in these mid fights. Like for example, that last fight, that Batiste and Reinhardt should have been cleaned up long before. And then you blinked back to cart, you're slow to set up. A little bit more decisive on the mid fight stuff. And even on the setup phase. So there they are, right? Go. Set up a flank.
Oh, there's two of them.
It's okay.
Too much.
You timed it well. It's good.
Can't really get up there.
Probably not, yeah. Not from that direction anyway.
I should have gone for the mega.
It's okay. So, think. Where else is there an opportunity to flank that high ground? What else can you do?
Yeah, should have wrapped around the back and then taken the ramp instead of the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
I was too much focused on the stairs. That's a
Yeah,
vision, I think.
yeah, that's okay. Angles are all free now, so you can take any one that you want now. I hear damage. Fight started. Look for an opportunity. Close.
Where did he go?
He jumped over you. No recall, survive, play your life. Go for the mecha. Go for the mini. You're good. She's chasing. You're good. Set up. Go. Good. You might need to worry about touch in a second. Yeah, I think you need to touch. Oh, no, I think you're good. Good. Unfortunate. So, I think with you, you did a much better job reacting to what was on your screen and taking whichever angle was available. That was much, much better. Now, what you actually need to do is once you set up that angle, try and be a little bit faster at actually executing, right? Don't waste as much time as we did on first point attack, right? Be a little bit more decisive, be a little bit more quick. So once the angle's gone, once the fight has actually started, you're on a timer. Get in there, start engaging, start pressuring. Make sense?
Yep. Yeah, that's just practice and time.
Right. You need a little bit of that urgency. And I think for you, it's like you do put the time in, but the question is what is that time as emphatic as it could be? Like, are you as focused in this like engaged as you possibly could be? And I think like giving yourself those goals, the corner peek, what's the best angle with what's on my screen, and then committing and putting pressure from that angle at a good time. Those are like your 3 checkpoints. Sound good?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cheers, mate. Okay, so that was, let's write this stuff up really fast here. Tracer, take angle that's available given enemy setup, positioning, execute with, here's my favorite word, alacrity from that position once the fight starts. Watch corner peek habit in 1v1s versus ranged DPS supports. Okay. Appreciate everyone for coming around. That's going to be all for now. We do have some hammer time to do. Maybe we'll do some stuff like that more often. I'm not really sure, but let me shut this down. Chat, it is time for hammer time. So here's the deal. Long, long ago, in a galaxy far, far away, there was a quiet streamer named Spilo. Let me see if I can actually find. I'm just gonna be honest with you guys. Stuff is. Let me see if I can find. So there was a series called Hammer Time. And basically people would submit their educational content, whether it was a YouTube video, a Reddit post, something along those lines, and I would rank it. And we had a couple of videos like Overwatch University, we went on Your Overwatch, we did Stylosa. Now, a few of these I have privatized because I was pretty incendiary, to say the least. I was pretty spicy. I went pretty hard on some of these guys, and in hindsight was too insulting, given the fact that they're just trying to make something that other people can learn from. So I've privated a few of them. A lot of them are still available, the ones that are more on like the Reddit post, more general stuff. You can check those out, but we're bringing back Hammer Time. And this is where we're going to be roasting and or rating educational content, but I do have a couple of guidelines, okay? You can submit any Reddit post that you want. If it's Reddit, it's fair game. You can submit any TikTok that you want. I'm fed up with TikTok. TikTokers, there's a lot of bad information on TikTok. I don't care if it's TikTok or not. I don't care who it is on TikTok. All right, for the most part. YouTube is the only one where we're gonna make some exceptions, but you can submit it. And this is how you submit. You're gonna go on my Discord, you're gonna go in the channel Hammer Time, and you're gonna link something for me to review, and here. Now we've already got a few people link some stuff in here that I'm gonna be looking over. Some of them have been linked over time. I haven't done it in a long time, so I'm gonna be checking these out. So if you guys have any Reddit, Overwatch University, competitive Overwatch, r/Overwatch, TikTok educational Overwatch stuff, YouTube stuff, throw it in here. Exclamation mark Discord, exclamation mark HAMMERTIME if you want the Discord link. Okay, let's start. Let's go back a little bit because I haven't done it in a long enough time. So let's see if there's any of these that look interesting enough. I don't want to do people like Questron who are trying to improve them, are trying to like kind of. Like I said, I'm a little bit careful with this. I might do the Overwatch comps explained because this one looks interesting to me. Would you guys be interested in this one? Maybe we do this one. Maybe we do this one. Now I'm gonna be not crazy flaming ranting and raving on this one just because it is Yeatle. I respect Yeatle as a content creator and as an educator, so I don't want to sit here and rant and rave, but I will tell you what I think. I'll tell you what I think. All right, let's 1.25 it, not because I'm a zoomer, but just in the interest of expediency, and let's go.
Up guys, Yeatle here with another educational video. You guys have been asking for it, and here it is. In today's class, I'm gonna be
and one quick point here as well. If I can get these to work, I think this is still here. The ranking systems. Yeah, see, I had this whole little system going on here where the ranking is either tolerable, beefed, or scuffed. Right, beefed as in good, and then the last one was scuffed. I had them all hotkeyed. I don't remember all the hotkeys.
Fatality.
So we'll maybe we'll at least flash them. Should I get my Torb hammer, guys? I should get my Torb hammer. Hang on. Ladies and gentlemen, the throwback. This is where it all started. Okay, let's take a look. Overwatch comps explained by Yeatle.
covering the topic of hero compositions. The amount of compositions you can make in Overwatch is probably a very big number, and I'm not going to Google it or do the math, but it's probably a big number, let's be honest. However, you don't need to know all those compositions. All you really need to know are 3 playstyles and how you win with them.
It actually wouldn't be that hard to calculate. You'd see the number of Overwatch heroes, okay? We'd have the number of tanks combinations you'd have, the multiply, yeah, anyway.
Those 3 playstyles are Dive, Brawl, and Poke. Now, there's probably a super technical nerd definition for each of those 3 things, but I'm just going to explain it to you the way I understand it, because that's what wins me games. And hopefully it'll win you games too. Poke is typically when you shoot at the enemy team and try to whittle down their resources via poking, or you poke at them until they die. Now, the Brawl playstyle, as you might have guessed, is a little bit more brawly. You're not trying to take those long, drawn-out poke battles from across the map. Basically, you want to close in the distance on the opposing team and beat them with your abilities, or just raw muscle power. A lot of the times, you might be able to just pick a target and run them over as a team. If you're familiar with these playstyles, you're probably wondering what's the difference between running someone over in Brawl and diving them. And that's where I explain Dive. So just like Brawl, you're not usually going to win from poking at your opponents the whole game. At one point or another, you need an engagement. Unlike Brawl, you're not usually attacking in a straight line. It's more of a everybody fends for themselves kind of playstyle, but at one point or another, most of them are collapsing on the same target. So for the most part, Dive is very precise.
Not necessarily true. The difference between Dive and Brawl, if you say all collapsing on the same target, then Brawl would also function as Dive. The self-isolation is I guess, unique. But the way I classify these, well, I'll talk about that when we get to Rosanna.
Now, if you saw the thumbnail, you're probably wondering which of these playstyles counter which. And truthfully, it depends on a couple things. Are the sightlines long enough to poke? Can we force fights on point? And are the flank routes good? Generally, aside from that, a good Brawl has a tankiness to outlive a Dive, a good Dive has the mobility to avoid poke and take out their backline, and a good poke has the damage to walk backwards and melt the Brawl as they approach. Alright, now that I've gotten you guys past the tutorial, I can finally start teaching you
very dangerous to use that terminology. And today's Overwatch too, because that's going to be weaponized. I would say no comp counters any comp anymore. I think it's completely map dependent. It probably has been for some time. The only time where comps like Brawl versus Dive versus Spam have like circle counter comped is like back when things were a lot less balanced and there was a lot more opportunity for counter comps through combos, and that's just not something that you see as much anymore.
Stuff that you might not know. and that is what I believe to be the heart of compositions. Which role do you think is the most important when deciding the optimal playstyle? I'll give you guys a second. If you said
Tank.
DPS, you are absolutely wrong. It's actually tank, is what I'd say if it was actually tank, but it's not, it's support. Yep, you heard me right. Support is the most important when trying to build the team playstyle. The reason for that is you pretty much
One hero. Lucio.
only have one tank, and all their utility is basically block damage in one shape or form. They also have different levels of damage, but for the most part, what they offer the entire team doesn't have much variance. Whereas supports, there's two of them. They all have the ability to heal, different amounts depending on which healer you get. They also have varying damage, but the big one is all the different utilities they offer. I mean, you have damage multipliers, you have anti, speed, immortality, cleanse. Now with the new hero, repositioning, and to top it all off, they arguably have the best ultimates in the game. Now, I'm not trying to argue that support is the best role in the game or anything like that, but I am trying to say that as far as what's offered to the team, supports offer the most. And when it's put like
I would say it's more this way. Support, there are more supports that fit a specific niche, and the supports in general are less flexible. I don't necessarily disagree with. I think I support makes total sense. But here's what he's trying to say. Okay, so when you play Lucio, you spam is very hard, Matt. You can play Lucio into spam, but it's like in a spam matchup. But you have to do like really weird things. Mercy. When you play Mercy and Brawl, what are you really doing, right? Like, how do you make that work? It's very difficult to make that work. When you play something like, I'm gonna think of another good example here. Even like to an extent, not Mercy with Dive. I guess Zen to a lesser extent with Dive, but even that one doesn't really fit. Let's put it this way. There's a few support heroes that just don't fit certain archetypes. Like, yeah, sure, BAP with Dive, right? Would BAP with Dive work? Kind of, but you really have a hard time damaging or healing people from afar when they're going off in their separate flanks, and you're not really very mobile yourself, right? So you have these supports that are not very flexible with their playstyle, so you really can only play them in certain archetypes. Lucio better in Dive, Lucio better in Brawl. Mercy better in Dive, Mercy better in Spam. Bat better in Brawl, Bat better in Spam. But each of those has a comp where they're not very good. Not very good in long range sightlines, right? No bueno, right? Brawl, Mercy can play with Dive, Mercy can play with Spam, but she doesn't do very good when everything gets all close and messy, right? Bap can play with Brawl, Bap can play with Spam, but when things start to go crazy all over the map, not very good, right? So the thing is not that supports bring more to the table. I would disagree. What I would agree is that there are just a couple of supports that are just not unplayable, but really, truly awful in certain compositions. And because you need two supports and you only need one tank, there's a lot less options available. For example, if you're playing Dive on Gibraltar and you have a Roadhog, it's going to be ugly. If you have a Reinhardt, it's going to be ugly. If you have, I'm trying to think here, a Sigma, it's going to be ugly. There's a lot of tanks that don't work at all on Dive. At all. But there are a lot of tanks that do work in Dive. The problem is that if you have a support, any one of your two supports picks a support that really doesn't work, there's a lot less flexibility around it. So I think it really, I would say it's hard to really archetype who's really the defining factor here. If we go Genji or Tracer, those heroes are dynamic. They can play in different compositions. But if we go Reaper, it's tricky. If we go Hanzo, if we go Junkrat, right? So there are, I don't know that you can really lock it down to any one role. I think within every role, there are several heroes that don't fit certain archetypes. And I don't think you need a Brig to play Dive. You don't need an Ana to play Dive. You don't need a Lucio to play Dive. You don't need a Zen to play Dive. You don't need a Mercy to play Dive. You don't need a Moira to play Dive. But any combination of those, you're okay. You don't need a Ball to play Dive. You don't need a Winston to play Dive. You don't need a D.Va to play Zarya. You don't need a Zarya to play Dive. But a combination of those, or one of those, will work. Yes, the free winners will be announced probably within a week. They're taking me a lot longer because there's 440 submissions. I've got about 50 or 60 left. So I don't like the support focus as much.
Like that, it kind of makes sense why you're making a playstyle around your support.
Because if we go Ramacha, Reaper, May, you're not going to go, oh, well, the supports are, like, you need Lucio. Like, you need Lucio more than anything else.
So that's the big one right there. If you're trying to figure out what the strength of your team is, just look at what your support lineup is. And if you don't really know what you're looking at...
I don't agree. I don't agree. I think the supports are a definite starting point, but no less so than DPS or tanks. I think there are just as many unflexible DPS and just as many unflexible tanks as there are supports. I don't agree with that.
That's where this part of the video comes in.
Again, imagine playing dive on Gibraltar, or just dive period with a Sigma. I mean, it can work, guys, but it's not dive. Like, my point is I'm not trying to... I don't want you guys to use this information and go and like try and micromanage what your picks are in ranked, because you can have crazy... Everyone's playing for themselves in ranked, but if you're trying to find a specific composition that all synergizes together, when your tank picks Sigma, don't look at your supports, look at your Sigma. You know what I'm saying?
I'll try to explain what support...
If you have a Junkrat, don't look at your supports, look at your Junkrat. If you have a Pharah, look at your Pharah.
What kind of playstyle good. So let's actually start at the bottom of the list. Let's start with Zenyatta. Zenyatta is not a very mobile support, and quite frankly, he's a glass cannon. He's got a lot of damage with his primary fire, and Discord is great. However, he's not going to be throwing cakes in the front line. I mean, he can, but, you know, that's not really what you want. So usually if you have a Zenyatta, that's a pretty big sign that, hey, we just might be building some poke comp here. He can be good in the dive composition, because Discord on the dive target obviously means they die sooner. But the problem is he's a bit of a liability, because you don't really want to be protecting your backline in dive, so usually not the most optimal pick in dive compositions. You can also have Zenyatta in a Brawl composition, but again, not really optimal, because having a Zenyatta means your Brawl either has low heals, or you lose the ability to engage. Which honestly, at that point, it's kind of weird to call it Brawl. It's more like poking with melee.
I mean, he's right. I think the reason why we're going to roll with support here is just because it's easier. Right? It's easier to just quickly go through the supports than to go through all the DPS and be like, well, Junkrat can play with Brawl, but he's not very good with dive, and some of them just don't fit at all. So I think with support, if nothing, I don't agree with his reasoning for getting there, but it is a lot easier to break down compositions by what the supports can do in it.
Melee heroes. Next on the support list, we're going to jump right over to Baptiste. Just like Zenyatta, he does a lot of damage, which means he is fantastic for poke comp, one of the staples even. But unlike Zenyatta, he has great survivability, and even...
I will say, another one of my nitpicks as well, what does this statement mean?
Is fantastic for poke comp, one of the... Baptiste. Just like Zenyatta, he does a lot of damage.
You know who else does a lot of damage? Who else does a lot of damage in the support cast, ladies and gentlemen? I'm gonna die on this hill. Lucio, Moira, exactly. So why don't you play Moira in spam comps? Why don't you play Moira in spam comps? Moira has actually the capability to do more damage than Baptiste. She has no range, right? So let's stop defining spam comps as high damage comps. Let's start specifying, because the irony is that they're going to play heroes like Widowmaker in a spam comp, which do no damage. Let's stop defining spam comps as damage comps. They are range comps. Baptiste has a lot of range. That's the difference.
Which means he is fantastic for poke comp, one of the staples even. But unlike Zenyatta, he has great survivability, and
I think it's really important that people understand that.
Even better healing, which makes him a lot less limited in what you can play him in. The consistent damage and heals make him a top tier poke pick. Those heals also make him great for keeping his tank alive in Brawl comps. In dive comps, he's not the best because he's lacking a bit of synergy, but he's not a terrible option either. Third on the list,
I think he's a terrible option, personally.
We got Mercy. Now, I bet a lot of you guys are wondering where Mercy fits in all this. Well, if you caught on to the trend, I was picking all the heroes that are good at poke, and Mercy is surprisingly good at poke. No, not because of the pistol, but because of the other two things, damage amp and resurrection. Mercy pocketing the DPS makes it a lot easier for them to win duels in poke, and in case they lose that duel, they can also get rezzed. So, they have another chance to lose the duel. She can also be good in a dive comp if she has a Pharah or Echo to pocket.
Agreed.
Thanks to her maneuverability, she's also pretty hard to dive herself. Now, the team playstyle you don't want to have with a Mercy is Brawl. Her healing's mediocre, and she's kind of just a sitting duck unless she's pocketing the DPS on the flank. And if she's doing that, you're not really playing the Brawl, you're playing the win duels and poke. Now we'll move on to a hero
Like he's saying there, when Mercy is a sitting duck in Brawl, because a lot of times Brawl is playing shorter sightlines, so even when they flank, it's hard to fly away to escape routes because they're either on the other side of a wall or right next to you. So that's where Mercy doesn't excel. Would you say another advantage for Widow hitting your one shots gives you less ultra damage? Yeah, no, I mean, you're way overthinking it, but yes, it is an advantage.
that is good at Brawl. Your favorite frog, Lucio. If the whole team wants to hold W, Lucio's the guy to make it happen. He's got speed to get in,
I love that he's just playing the hero totally wrong while he's just talking about playing the hero.
survivability to get out, and he has short range burst healing. If there was a hero made for Brawl, it was Lucio. That being said, something that he's not made for is poking. This guy is terrible at poking. If you're ever having a cross-map clicking competition, you do not want to have a Lucio on your team. For the same reason he's good at Brawl, he is terrible at poke. Everything he does requires him to be close. But on the bright side, he's pretty decent in dive. He himself can dive pretty well, and he's also a pretty solid bodyguard for his other support. Next, we got Moira.
Sure, yeah.
Another great healer for just healing your tanks through a Brawl. Great survivability, so she can survive a dive and help with the dive, but not too much to poke with, especially considering her healing is on a resource. Chances are, if you have a Moira, you're not poking. Next, let's move.
I would have talked a little bit about her self-survivability also being fairly good versus dive, because she can actually dual dive DPS really, really well, at least compared to other supports. So you can like dive, you can basically fight divers very easily.
On to my favorite healer in the game, Ana. She's got more than enough heals to keep a tank up in Brawl. Her ultimate synergizes really well with dive, and even though she doesn't have the best poke, anti-nades are just so good. She's definitely not the most optimal pick for this one, but she's not terrible either. Next up is Kiriko.
The honest problem with poke is that her nade and sleep dart are a little bit harder to land at range, and nano is harder to get value out of because people tend to keep each other at distance in poke comps, at least early on. So it's hard to get early nano advantage in range because nano is an ultimate that does better when you can get guaranteed and nobody can duck behind a wall to avoid it, and it's generally too easy to avoid nano entirely. And then also her damage with her sniper is pretty good, but it's not amazing. It's not amazing. Okay.
She's really good at dives, and she's pretty good at taking care of herself. She's a scary 1v1. She's not much of a brawler herself, but the heals and the cleanse are pretty useful in that comp, and her ultimate might as well just be a free fight win. Kiriko's kind of whatever in poke, because yeah, she might get a headshot here and there, but she doesn't pump out the consistent damage that Zenyatta and Baptiste do. Next up, we got...
So this is something I talked about in my Kiriko guide, like I released the day after the hero released. Her worst compositions are in poke when you cannot take an off angle. If you can take an off angle, she's really good in poke. If you cannot take an off angle, she's terrible in poke. The worst support in the game, arguably. That's basically really all there is to it. So Kiriko is a weird hybrid. I think she is a little bit weaker in Brawl, but yes. Okay. She isn't bad at Brawl, but there are better supports.
Which is a really weird one. So when
she was way strong in Brawl, but she's not as strong anymore.
The 3 playstyles, she's not really a top pick in any of them. She's more of like a weird situational pick. Like for starters...
I completely disagree. I think she's really good in dive. I think that she is very weak in Brawl. And I think she's serviceable in spam. But the problem is for you to explain how it works in spam is going to take more than 10 seconds, and that's kind of what this video's pace is. I'm not disagreeing with the pace of the video. It's made for Zoomer, but it's Brig is good in spam.
She's the anti-dive hero. If you're playing any flanker against the Brig, you're going to have a hard time unless it's a very well-coordinated dive. You'd think brawling with Brig is good, but it's still kind of weird because if you try to hold W on a Reinhardt as Brig, you're going to die. But if you play it kind of pokey, where you hit whip shots and maybe get a swing in back up just to proc Inspire, she's a decent healer. And finally, the newest support added to the roster as of this video, Lifeweaver. Honestly, I'm not going to say too much about Lifeweaver because he just came out and he's kind of underpowered, and I don't really know what direction they're going to buff him.
Agreed.
But as of right now, I believe he's really good for dive and brawl. I say dive because he can pull out his flankers if they're not winning their duel or if the engagement was poor. Same thing with brawl. He can pull out his front line if the engagement was bad,
I think it's probably a pretty reasonable
He can also set
statement.
up his tanks in positions they wouldn't be able to get to normally by using the pedal platform. As for poke, he doesn't really do anything. The most he can do is set up a pedal platform for his snipers so that they can get sniped at the skybox. And just like that, you now learned the foundation for building a optimal composition. Funny how this accidentally turned into like a mini support guide, huh? So now that we figured out which supports create which playstyle, we can now figure out how to execute it on each tank and which might be the best at it. Starting with top of the list, we have D.Va. Her name starts with D, and you know what else starts with D? Dive. Her mobility and shotguns make her great for running down the enemy backline, stopping them from getting healed with Matrix, and matrixing her fellow divers. Depending who she's up against, she can get by in a brawl, but poke is a no-go. You do not want to be poking people with shotguns. Much like D.Va, we have Doomfist. His name starts with a D.
And that's the tricky part about the composition guide. Is like D.Va is actually phenomenal in poke on certain maps, because what you do is you play aggressive to control the enemy snipers. You don't poke. You try to dive the enemy. That's where we talk about the hybrid comp stuff. It's like, yeah, I don't know. This is why I can never make guides like this, because I'm not picking this on Yeetle, like this particular thing. It's just like you can't fit all this information in one guide, so I generally just don't even bother making the guide, because it feels like it's educational, but it's also a little bit of misinformation at the same time, because you just can't. You know what I'm saying, though, guys? Like it's really tough.
And he's great at diving. He's got the mobility to get in and get out, and the damage to get a kill. Unfortunately, he's a little bit too much like D.Va in the sense that his gun is pretty much a shotgun, and he just doesn't offer much as a poker. Now,
he's even better than D.Va in poke, because especially on some maps, having a Doomfist really ruins Sniper's day, really ruins Bap and Zin's day. Like even like as like a wrecking ball level, right? Yeah, you don't stand in the front line, but you absolutely can dive as D.Va and Doomfist and be fine in spam comps.
we got Junker Queen. She's not much of a diver herself, but her commanding shout does enable.
You would need a 10-hour video to do it. I could probably do it in 20. I could probably do it in 20,
pretty
25.
well. Shotgun, knife, axe, her whole kit's pretty good. But
okay, let me
and it just doesn't offer much as a poker. Now we got Junker Queen. She's not much of a diver herself, but her commanding shout does enable dive pretty well. Shotgun, knife, axe, her whole kit's pretty good at close quarters, so she is a top tier brawl pick. When it comes to poking, she's not that great, just like the last two tanks, but her throwing knife does enable her to do something. Next up, we have Battle Cattle, aka Orisa. If you find yourself locking the others, you'll be happy to know that she's a pretty good all-arounder. She's not the best at anything other than countering Roadhog, but she's got the mobility to get into most situations and the damage mitigation to get out of them. And what do you know, her weapon actually has some range to it, so that makes her pretty alright at poke. Here's one of my favorites.
I actually find Orisa really weak in poke. I find Orisa really weak in poke. Am I the only one? I think Orisa is probably which is ironic because of her gun, but I find her really bad in poke. Anything with range, because the problem, okay, you're gonna notice something. I find, like we said, D.Va and Doom can work, even though they're short range heroes, but it's because they have mobility to close the distance. Orisa doesn't have the mobility to close the distance. You have to do really weird and creative stuff to be able to get to the back line. I think you could run her in a dive comp as like a weird quasi anti-dive tank, and you could run her in a brawl comp, but I do not like her as spam.
Tanks, Ramatra.
But the thing is you could play Orisa with spam heroes versus a dive comp. You see what I'm saying? You could counter the enemy's composition and protect your own snipers by playing Orisa very easily.
He's kind of an average pick when it comes to diving.
So are we playing versus dive or with dive?
Because he doesn't have mobility that gets him across the map, but he does have some mobility, and the slow on Vortex is really good for isolating the target. He's the only tank that has the best of both worlds, where he has pretty much a shotgun and a shield. And once again, the slow is really good for isolating the target. He's also one of the few tanks that can poke well thanks to his long-range primary fire. His shield also helps a lot.
And again, I find Ram to be quite weak in poke as well. I think he is playable in poke, but I don't think he's particularly good at poke. His shield and range spam and E allows him to close the distance and get some poke damage, and he can actually his nemesis actually allows to finish stuff, but I don't think he's very good on poke. Ram is definitely somewhere middle of the road, though.
Enabling his team to poke or
Ram
rotate.
is one of the more all-rounder tanks in the game,
This
I
guy
think.
sucks at everything. Nah, I'm just messing with you. I'm sure you guys can figure out why he's good in Brawl. Funny enough, if you have him on the right map, Pin actually gives him a pretty good option in Dive. He's not too good at poking for obvious reasons, but I won't count him out entirely because his shield does offer the utility of rotating his team into positions to poke better. Roadhog.
No. You would never do that for that. The reason that you'd play Ryan in poke is so that you would actually set up dives on the enemy's range DPS and range supports.
Can I just skip this guy? Did they say they were going to rework him or something? Well, for starters, you might be flanking with Roadhog, but you're definitely not diving with him. I mean, he's kind of got some brawl potential because he's got a shotgun, and then he can hook people.
I think he's really bad.
But like, if the enemy team goes Ana and he doesn't have a Kiriko,
because like any sort of CC or frontline pressure, he just dies.
You basically don't have a tank. But you know what he does have? He's the one shotgun tank that's pretty solid at poke. He's got the right click to dish out pretty big damage from medium range, and most of his playstyle is poking with hooks, so yeah. But if we're going to talk about the GOAT of poke, we gotta talk about the Sigma male. He might be old, but he can still snipe. He's got good shield to rotate team and poke. He also has good damage mitigation with the hand sucky thing. And then his primary fire actually has range, which is pretty rare among the tanks. Now let's move on to Monkey Overwatch. Winston's got the mobility.
I think Sig can kind of function in Brawl in some maps. Like, he's not good, but he's, I don't know. No, Sigma's too easy to isolate.
And the bubble for dives. He's just a good option for dive. I mean, I think anybody that's played Overwatch for more than 2 seconds knows this. But I'm telling you it anyways. His brawl potential is terrible since most tanks beat him in a straight face-to-face, and his poke potential is just as bad, if not worse, because he doesn't poke. At best, he's a distraction. Next up is...
But again, it's like versus or with. We still haven't even defined that.
The one, the only, the hamster in a ball. Wrecking Ball.
Now, here's the funny thing. I guarantee you, he's going to say ball is good versus spam. Because you can dive and harass and you don't need it. But then he already has said that Diva wasn't good versus spam. But yet we could literally use the same criteria to explain why Diva and Doomfist are good versus spam. You know what I'm saying? Like, here it comes.
Got the highest mobility in the game and pretty solid damage on initial engagements, making him one of the best divers in my opinion. He loses out in most 1v1s versus enemy tanks, so once again, not a very good brawler. But his ability to get around the map and just be faster overall makes him a better distraction factor than Winston. Same thing with poke, he doesn't exactly have a shield for his team, and his kit's not really made for poking, but he can definitely tie some hands up and live longer than most tanks would. And finally,
I don't know. I mean, I find Ball to be a really good spam tank because it's low resource, and because he's so fast, he can close the distance and harass enemy snipers. We haven't really defined about...
Last on the tank list, we have Zarya. If you can get her charged enough, there's definitely an argument for having her in all 3 playstyles. She's definitely one of the best tanks when it comes to brawling, if you can get her charged.
I find her horrible in spam.
She's not the best when it comes to diving because she just doesn't have the mobility to keep up, but her ability to bubble divers definitely makes her a viable option.
True.
Zarya into poke, however, is kind of a mixed bag because on one hand, she has a lot of damage, so she'll be poking.
But remember, it's not the damage, it's the range that defines poke. So Zarya generally doesn't function very well playing into range or playing with range because she doesn't enable her snipers to do much more. She doesn't disable enemy range DPS to do more. So she's just bad.
But it's also really hard to get charged against hit scan heroes, especially snipers. And then one mistake, you're dead, you lose your charge, and all of a sudden you're playing probably the worst hero possible in poke. So yeah, definitely a hit or miss hero in all 3. And that is it for tanks. We're done here. Can I get a yippee in the comment section?
No.
Or how about a hip hip hooray?
No.
Or if you're feeling a bit of Mario, how about a wahoo? And for those of you who stuck around hoping I'd cover DPS, you're out of luck, my friend, because I'm not going to make this video 10 minutes longer to say pretty much the same things. But I believe if you were here the entire time, you have the ability to connect the dots. That's going to be it for this video. I hope you guys liked it.
Well, yeah, I'm not going to rank this one just because, as I said, I'll rank the TikToks and the Reddit stuff, but you really need to define about who are we playing with or playing against. You need to define the composition, strengths, and weaknesses a little bit better, like what actually is dive or what actually is brawl. And then I also like the priority over like explaining the importance of mobility and range. Yeah. Okay, let's keep going. What do you guys got for me? This one hurt. 20 reasons why I hate Overwatch players.
Hey guys, welcome back to another rant video. The videos where I say not what you want to hear, but what your ass needs to hear.
I just don't know if I'm going to be able to stomach that. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. I just don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. What's the counter to Sombra and Owl play? Okay. He's talking about how good a particular tank is playing in that comp, not playing against that comp. But the problem with that is then, by that measure, then something like Ball is totally fine. Because Ball is actually, or Diva, are interchangeably really good with poke comps. In fact, it's very important to decide which one to play depending on what you're playing versus. What I would have preferred is having this is what the comps do, this is generally what you play, and then these are the comps, these are the heroes that you'd play versus a tank comp. For example, if I'm playing a spam comp, spam heroes, and I would want versus a dive comp, I would want a Diva. If I'm playing a spam comp versus another spam comp, I would want a Sigma or a Ball. If I'm playing a spam comp versus a brawl comp, I would want a Ball, right? So we'd be able to talk a little bit more about each of them, like playing with a comp versus the enemy comp. Okay, counter to Sombra and play, mostly because I don't understand them. I guess I see EMP used on a healer who's in dove by 2 teammates and dies instantly since not 5 just lose by default. The next fight, the other team is EMP and they do the same thing in the fight. Like, am I missing something? It seems to be that fights are one constantly, entire maps are one just based on who EMPs first. No. So basically, here's the thing with Sombra. Sombra can set up on a dive. Okay, let's talk about the fundamentals of dive. Super fast, okay? Backline 1, backline 2. Let's get a different color here. If you want to dive and kill backline 2, unless the enemy teams are just filled with morons, you cannot go 3, 2, 1, everybody push and dive backline. Because here's what you have to set up, okay? Here's what you have to set up. Number 1, angle 1. You have to send your little friendly Sombra all the way around behind to set up on their backline, to set up a cut so that she has an easier flank or an angle to hack the backline, right? That takes time, that takes setup, that assumes that they don't get spy checked, that assumes that they don't get their translocator destroyed, that assumes that they are able to have time to set up the translocator and so on. Posture check, thank you. Number 2, can you guys guess where we're going with this? Angle. A Sombra on backline is not good enough. If you were to dive your monkey from here, that wouldn't work. It's too far. It's direct. It's obvious. It's easy to whip shot. It's easy to burst. It's easy to block. It's easy for the enemy team to damage the Winston as he's walking and diving forward. So what do? Well, you need an angle, right? So what you do is you send either your Tracer, your Winston, or your both, and you send them around on another angle. Maybe it's on the right, maybe it's on the left. We'll just do it for the sake of the argument on the left. So you send up your Winston and your Tracer here, and then now, because they're here instead of here, it's a much shorter engage to backline and a much safer engage, okay? So, now you've established number 2. Number 3, for a perfect dive, is perfect timing. So then now that you've had my magic words, you have angle 1, you have angle 2. Now you need to execute this pressure, whether it's from the Winston and Sombra, Tracer, Sombra, or Winston, Tracer, and Sombra, okay? And then now, if all things are aligned, and the enemy team doesn't peel it off quickly enough, and by the way, this applies to EMP as well, then the fight's lost. It's over. Now, this is where it gets real, though. The enemy team knows this, and what do you think the enemy team is trying to do? Well, they're trying to get their own Sombra on the back line. Now, that might mean that the Sombras pass like ships in the night and don't even see each other. It might not. They might run into each other. Therefore, we have a little bit of a duel in the setup. But the most often and most common duel is when the Tracers go to set on the flank or the angle for the enemy backline, and they run into each other. And they go, the Spider-Man meme, right? Hey! 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 Right? And so then now you guys have fighting for this flank or for this off angle to see who wins. Because if they can't, whoever wins is able to set up the flank to the back line. And if what ends up happening is this is why we don't always see backline dives. In fact, the majority or about half, if not more, of dives are won and lost not by whoever dives backline, but by how this flank war goes. And the way dive goes is it's not very static. We fight for one flank. No, maybe there's a little bit of push and pull. Maybe the Tracer goes on the other flank and she runs into the Winston and she gets hit by a Brig whip shot. But there's a lot of bouncing back and forth, looking for ways to get around and set up the flank. Because if you didn't do this, if you try to cheat, let's say Team Blue tries to cheat and just run it down mid, it was too far, too easy to peel, too easy to get traded. So this is why Sombra is not, I mean, she's a, it's not just simple as setting up and just dive backline over and over again. It's hard. They might be too far. You might not have a good flank. They have too much cover. Your Sombra gets spy checked because even if you set all this up, what happens if the Sombra goes even a little bit too early? She gets forced up, bam! Or the hack doesn't last long enough. Remember how short the hack lasts, right? Or the Tracer goes in, gets shot once, gets a recall force, and then the hack comes in. You have to be so tight. So tight. So, how do you counter Sombra? You need to stop them from setting up. And that's what a lot of good teams do. Is it better to have the Monkey or Tracer engage the microsecond? Generally Monkey better. Monkey better because the bubble is useful for both the Tracer and Sombra. Okay? And also the Monkey's kind of, you know, he's built for that. More so than Sombra or Tracer. You can use support roles to save the MP target. There are also lots of heroes that do more in the neutral, like Hanzo. She's only OP for the few select players that mastered the hero, like Lip. I wouldn't say the neutral. I think that's a fine term because, you know, the neutral is like the EMP's better than Dragon, but, you know, maybe Hanzo does more. I wouldn't say just the neutral. I would also say the setup. You see, Sombra is a very bad hero until she gets her setup on a flank on the backline. She's not very flexible. She doesn't really do a lot of damage, right? She's not even very good in DPS 1v1s, right? Like, you maybe in lower ranks, but if you hack a Hanzo, you know, if you try to hack a Cassidy or a Tracer, you know, she's more of a supplement or a distraction. And so the setup phase is where she's weak and useless. Because think about it, she's sitting in stealth. She doesn't even do any damage. Yes, there is. Is there a possibility we could deny Sombra value, but not deny her setup? Yes. So let's say that you had like a Moira Lucio backline, and Sombra gets the hack, and your timing isn't perfect. Then your Moira can fade. Then your Lucio can amp, and they're very tanky, survivable heroes that aren't very scared. Not very common, but you could just have really survivable heroes. And generally the way that people in Overwatch counter dive is in one of two ways. You either counter the dive by surviving it or by preventing it. Okay? Hanzo counters Sombra by preventing the Sombra from taking angles and by threatening her. But if Hanzo gets hacked and a Winston jumps on him, the Hanzo is dying. Even though Hanzo is good versus Sombra in a 1v1, Hanzo's actually weak to Sombra once she gets the setup because he's a very fragile hero to Sombra +1. Whereas a Sojourn is terrible versus Sombra in a 1v1, but Sojourn does much better versus Sombra +1. Right? You guys see what I'm saying? Hanzo, Torb Turret, Brig, Cass, also Sombra comps play slowly. They like to set up and wait for the team to be in position for a dive. So rushing the enemy front line and growing the Sombra with more Lucio Ramirez, you can win, just go quickly for the Sombra. You can, yes. That is an accurate use of the word slowly, where it takes time to set up. It has nothing to do with range or how much damage she does. She just takes a little bit of extra time to set up. We have seen, I know this person is right, but we have actually seen a little bit of Torb in Overwatch League play to counter Sombra. So it's actually not a terrible counter versus Sombra because he does have his overload to survive the dive. He does have the poke to force her translocator and scout and control off angles. And his turret is kind of annoying to play versus. Those that play Sombra and Alda go too fast. Yes and no. Yes and no. Oh no, I can play the Legend Fall if teams to get help out if the hack wears out. Cardiac Kid, thanks for the sub, mate. Hydrate, appreciate it. This is good. This is good. It's all about what you do before the EMP. You can't deny the whole dive, but you can deny some of the dive. If you stop the tracer from having close to your back line, you can do this by setting your tracer marker, then all of a sudden the EMP is a lot weaker. That's how you play against dives. If you try to stop some of it before it even happens, you're already blocking their back line. Yeah, see, this must be a Spilo viewer. This must be a Spilo. This is a good answer. This is a good answer. You can't stop all of it. Sombra's hard to stop. Even spy checking is really hard to do, right? But you can stop the follow-up. You can stop everything else. Yeah, cheers, mate. What did the downvoted comment get? Although this is also a bit of a as well, I'm not gonna lie with you guys. I think you guys still have PTSD from like Overwatch 1 EMP. Overwatch 2 EMP is not a 90% fight win, not even in Overwatch League. All right, what is this? Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Good posts. Some good questions. Let's keep going. How many more of these are we gonna do? I'm not really sure. Oh yeah, this is my old OD game. Geez, I remember Neo's stuff. All right, Poke. I will check this out. I'll check this out.
Take a look at the following.
What does it mean to play aggressive in Overwatch 2? This is a very insightful video. I like the title already. Let's see.
Situation. Who is playing aggressively in Team Blue? If your answer
Genji.
was Genji, well, you're wrong.
Ah! No! Wait. Who's playing aggressively? I can't even tell. He got me. I can't tell. Is it Zen chasing the ball? Maybe it's Zen. I wouldn't say really anybody's positioned that aggressively. Genji's like, if the line is here, right? Sojourn's got an angle, Genji's got an angle, Ana's gonna be peeking here, Diva's marking cart. I think Zen is rotating high ground. Everything seems to be about all in place. I wouldn't say really anybody's
If your
playing
answer was
aggressively.
Genji, well, you're wrong.
I don't know. Let's find out, chat.
The correct answer was Sojourn, but why?
Why?
To answer that, let's take a look at a different scenario. Alrighty, my team is attacking Hollywood first. Obviously, this Baptiste is pretty passive right now. He can only really heal the Reinhardt and the Zenyatta and stuff. However, it might be interesting to think about who is playing more aggressive, this Reinhardt or the Zenyatta. And contrary to what a lot of people will believe, this Zenyatta is playing more aggressive than this Reinhardt, even though this Reinhardt seems to be further forward. And in fact, he is further forward. But being further forward does not mean that he is playing more aggressive. So let's take a look at this. If I am here crossing, right, or I am here engaging in combat, and this Zenyatta right here is in line of sight of the enemy Zenyatta and can engage in combat with him, right? If I'm doing this, I'm playing aggressive. Even though this seems rather passive, because we can just hide behind this corner and we just chill, right? Especially if it's like, if I'm pushing up like this, then I'm playing aggressive. But the moment that I fully cross over here and then I start to chill, this is probably not a position where the enemy team will push me. The Zenyatta can't really look at me like this, because then he'll just get shot by my team main, right? He can't really do that. This Orisa doesn't really have an angle on me. If she wants to have an angle on me, she has to push further up, and then she's gonna get shot by my team. So even though I'm more aggressive, quote-unquote, than my Reinhardt, I'm still passive, just like my Reinhardt. My Reinhardt right now is just chilling behind the corner, saving resources for the moment of engagement, right? So, I can go from this position, passive. Behind corner, not doing anything. Aggressive. Engaging in combats. Passive. Funny, isn't it? But the moment that I do this, now I'm aggressive again. And now I'm aggressive in an aggressive position. So we have to make this distinction between aggressive play and aggressive positions. This Hanzo right here is in an aggressive position. But because he is not engaging in combat right now, he is hiding. He's trying to use that high ground once my team pushes up further, right? So then he has a free angle to shoot, boom, headshot, right?
So he's in an aggressive position, but he's not making an aggressive play just yet.
Pushes up here, and he isn't contested, right? Right now he is passive in an aggressive position, but soon he will be aggressive in an aggressive position.
I like this, it's cool.
This Anna is in a passive position, but she is aggressive because she can engage in combat with the Zenyatta right here, right? And yes, she can just instantly fall back in a position like this, cut LOS, and then she would be passive and be able to support the Orisa. Same thing goes for the Zenyatta. The Zenyatta is playing aggressive. This Tracer is pushed up far, right? She can go ahead
aggressive
and do this
position, but passive.
This Tracer, but right now she's playing this relatively aggressive position rather passively. She is not trying to take poke from the enemy Tracer. She's not trying to engage in that. Why? Because this Zen can orb this Tracer, right? And then this Tracer only has this Mega Pack. That's it. If she needs more help afterwards, she needs to back up further to be able to get help from the team. So then she has to completely give up the fight, basically.
I think the difference here is what Trippy Chung was saying is that like holding an aggressive position passively can generate pressure because their concern and fear out of you being in that position. So you can hold an aggressive position without ever not as much risking your life. You know, it's actually kind of funny if we were to think about this from like a ranked example. I feel like lower and mid-ranked players need to learn how to play more aggressive positions passively. I think lower ranked players have a tendency to play very passive positions aggressively. Do you see what I'm saying? Where they will take very passive positions, but they'll stand out in the open and they never use cover. But higher ranked players know how to take very aggressive positions, but to play them passively, use cover well to take angles and to take space. Interesting. Let's keep going.
Oh, this Tracer basically has infinite resources and infinite time in the duel because she has Pocket from Zenyatta, right? Which means that this Tracer doesn't necessarily want to go here unless she wants to fight fast.
Sounds like a YouTube video ready to happen.
Kind of like
Maybe.
Resources with the Zen if she
This is
fast.
Poke's
If she plays
video.
slow, then she's just in a losing battle. So she might not want to engage in that until the team pushes up and then everyone sinks a push together. The importance of understanding these distinctions
let's see what he
is
says.
that oftentimes I see people being like, okay, let's say that I'm playing as Genji against Brig, Zen, Cassidy. Seems very hard to engage into that, right? They just exist and output a lot of pressure on the areas that they are. Zen, Discord Orb. Boom. Brig exists, denies an area because she threatens the bash, she threatens the flail, she has inspire healing to keep people up, then she can also brawl a little bit herself. Cassidy, magnetic grenade, roll, even with the HP nerf, he is still more tanky than most squishy targets, right? And if that core plays together, they are kind of rough for Genji to do something about it, right? But the thing is, if I am playing Genji into that, let's say that they are playing right there, right? And if I try to engage like this, I'm probably gonna fail every time. And then if I try to engage it like that again and I die because I didn't get a dash reset because I didn't get a kill, right? Then I might be like, oh damn, I can't play aggressive into that composition. I guess I have to play passive. And then I'm gonna be like, poke from afar, poke from afar. I can never engage the enemy composition because they just exist and get more value than I do, right? That is just completely wrong. First, you're not gonna be playing this passively. You're not playing as aggressively as you could, but you are putting pressure on the enemy team and you're trying to make you're making an effort to get them out of those positions, maybe get a pick if they give you that pick, but they're probably not going to get that. At most, you're trying to poke them out, force resources, and be able to walk up, right? But the important thing here is that the Genji, if they face that and then they just fail a few times, they're going to be like, I can't play aggressive into that composition, I need to play passive. And they understand the concept of passive as sitting back. When sitting back does not mean that I'm passive, and playing further up doesn't mean that I'm playing aggressive. So, if I'm in this position, and the enemy team can push me, and I can have my team support me if they do, and I'm not likely to die because I have resources, such as deflect if they push, right? Let's say I made this rotation with my dash, so I did this, right? Then I'm currently playing this position passively. But once I get my resources back, right? So my dash, and let's say that the enemy team did not push me because they were afraid of getting crossfired by my team, right? Then once that happens, I can, and I have full resources, I can do this, I can get close range to them. It's gonna be rough getting a kill, yes. But now, because I played aggressively in a smart way, now if I don't get the value that I'm expecting to commit to the play, right? I don't get good damage, maybe the Brig just forces me out early with a bash or something like that. I'm afraid.
Yeah, it's talking about staging. It's talking about why aggressive positions being played passively is better than aggressive play in a passive position, or aggressive play in aggressive position.
Because they're all looking at me and casting magnetic grenade me, then what I can do? I can just dash back. I'm safe. So playing aggressively doesn't mean that I necessarily have to be just aggro, kill. Oh, damn, they didn't get the kill, so I'm dead. Right? It doesn't mean that I have to play that position committed.
Yes, we had a collaboration. You had a Genji tip guide.
Stop entering
Highly
this
recommend
binary
Poke for
state
Genji
of,
coaching, by the way.
Turbo aggro.
I am way
right?
better at it than you this because I've had a lot more practice.
I'm like
but this is a really good video idea, and I think you should practice explaining this one more, and maybe even use this in your Genji coaching. Because the whole concept of taking an aggressive position but controlling it passively through using cover and like taking an angle, I feel like is something I'm just gonna freaking straight up steal from you in my future coaching sessions. I'm gonna steal that terminology. You should use it. I love this. This is great.
And I'm just
You're explaining it is like taking way too long and is way too roundabout. You need to kind of like, it's like whenever this happens to me too, like whenever I come across like a new concept or a new topic that I haven't like fully thought through, I'll make a video on it and then I'll look back at that video like a month later. I'm like, oh gosh, I was like still like I practice coaching it over and over again and I get better at it. I think you should roll with this. I think if you practice this more, this is really good potential.
Gonna sit here forever and I'm just gonna be like,
it's not like a new concept, but but I'm always looking for like new ways of explaining things, simpler ways of explaining things, and really memorable ways of explaining things. And I like this because I really like the example where you were saying I can't dash in aggressively versus these comp, and if I stand here and poke at a distance, that doesn't work either. So I can't play passive, I can't play aggressive, so I guess I just can't lose. But that's because they're only considering aggression and passivity from a distance standpoint, not from a angle standpoint, or from whether they're peeking or whether they're not. I think this is cute. I just think it needs to be explained better. That's all, and cleaner.
Poke can never engage there.
This is great. This is great. Someone needs to screenshot this and use this as an emote.
You get what I mean? There are more states than only those two things.
See, this is what you need to lean into.
There are more
This is good right here, right?
states than only those two things. And so if we go back to the example at the very start, the Sojourn is playing more aggressive because just kind of like the Zenyatta right here, right?
So once more, guys, just in case you guys missed it, aggressive position or aggressive play. Aggressive play means that you are engaged in peeking. Let me. Screw it. I'm gonna pull up Open Overwatch. I'm gonna pull up Overwatch. What? What's Battle.net cooking? Wait, why is it logging me out? So like I said, the cute little tagline there is that low mid-rank players don't know how to take aggressive positions without aggressive play. It's very important to know how to take an aggressive position without an aggressive play. So using cover, being more conservative, and you can also tie in play to angles. You could tie in play to timing. So like I will take an aggressive position, but my timing will be very defensive so that I peak late. Okay, so let's talk about this. All right, sure. Let's just roll with Ilios. Hacked live on stream. Oh no. So let's do it with a different hero. Let's do it with Soldier, just because fast. Okay. Aggressive play is defined as you are actively engaged, focused on combat and killing, not on preserving your life. I wouldn't say aggressive play is necessarily doing any damage. Like I would describe this as maybe more passive play, and where I'm like very much concerned with my life. With an aggressive play, I'm definitely more focused on just finishing the kill. But aggressive play is just I am engaged in combat, I am killing, I am pressuring, I am damaging the enemy team. Passive play is a much more emphasis on preserving my life, not really focused on actually doing any direct pressure at all. Aggressive position is taking a position that is deeper into the enemy team, higher risk, higher reward, with less help from my team directly. Aggressive position from the Soldier here, right from here. Passive position from the Soldier here, if my spawn room is over here and my supports are over here, okay? So you guys see the difference between aggressive position and passive position. This is a passive position with passive play. This is a passive position with aggressive play. You guys got it? This is an aggressive position with passive play. This is an aggressive position with aggressive play. And the reason why this is important is so that when you are able to take aggressive positions, don't forget the importance of just existing on that angle through just doing pressure on that angle. In other words, if I take an aggressive position, I need to make sure that I have cover and health packs, because the enemy team is going to go, hey, he's not supposed to be there, and they're more likely to punish me. Therefore, I might need to make sure that the fundamentals of cover and health packs and distance are more important, okay? Whereas if I'm playing inside of my own backline, I can be a little bit sloppier. Still need to keep the fundamentals because I am less likely to be punished for just doing more damage output, okay? Now, let's keep moving. When it comes to what is a good time to make an aggressive position, a good time to leverage an aggressive position and turn it from passive into aggressive is when there's something else on the enemy team that's distracting them. So for example, if I take a really deep flank as Soldier into an aggressive position, I need to position passively until I hear the enemy team distracted. Then I can double up aggressive. Aggressive position, aggressive play. Because they're no longer focusing on me, they're focusing on my team. So is Sombra on the enemy backline itself as an aggressive position and a passive play? Yes. Yes. Would it be true that with a higher effective range, you want to tend to have a passive position, aggressive play, and a lower effective range, you want to tend to be more of an aggressive position with passive play? Yes. But I think it depends. For example, if I'm playing Soldier, I'm more of a ranged hero. But because this map has decent sightlines, I can take very deep flanks and get away with it. You could even go, let's say you're playing Hanzo here. You could even Hanzo, I don't think I can make this jump here because I'm bad at this game. But you could even go Hanzo and take the high ground there and go in a super deep flank, right? So I think this idea needs more thought from both Poke and myself for when we're going to use it for our respective coaching sessions. But it's an interesting concept. The idea is this: be more comfortable with taking more aggressive positions, but be better with things like cover use, timing, health packs, and playing to your effective range, regardless of what you're doing. If you're playing Genji, stop playing Sniper Genji. For example, if I'm playing Genji back here, and I'm like, oh, they're on point. I can't, I'm just sniping, I can't do anything. There's this, or there's dashing into the middle of the enemy team. There's nothing in between. How about this? Take an aggressive position and play it passively. Jump around them on high ground and throw shurikens. Jump around them on the flank and throw shurikens, right? Take an aggressive position, but play it very cautiously. Yes. Really, really nice Poke. I think this is great. Very, very nice. Very nice. Definitely. More praise for the unusual and creative way it was explained. Even though it wasn't executed perfectly, it's going to take practice to execute it perfectly. I mean, I wasn't even executing it, but I really enjoyed that. That's gonna be. I'm gonna be thinking about that one for a little bit. I'm gonna give that a beefed submission. Wait. Wait, does it work? It's the best I can do right now. Nice. The most anticlimactic thing I've ever seen. Okay, listen. You guys did come here for high production quality, okay? I used to have hotkeys and everything, and I just, no. Okay. This guy. 3 rules to climb from silver to gold. Oh gosh. Wait, is this which buff hard attack one is this?
Hello there. My name is Buff Hardtech, and I'm here to help. See, you school. These sharp kids stuck here.
Oh my gosh, bro. 5 years ago.
A fight, and they all agree in that fight. It's their ultimates going back to number 1.
If you guys want to check this one out, it's something else. You're welcome, Poke. Thank you. Okay, Slugger on TikTok. All right, Slugger, what do you got for me? How to Zarya.
Disclaimer, I'm a D5 Zarya main, and while what I say in this video I fully believe and think you should trust, I urge you to watch people like Coach Spilo, A10.
This is freaky. This voiceover is freaky.
And other top-tier professional coaches. Keep in mind that not all of what I say is applicable in your rank. Beginner understanding the basic fundamentals of tank, Zarya playstyle. These are the most important parts of Zarya to learn first, as everything builds off of it. Zarya is a close-range high tank. This means early in the fight you want to prioritize getting close to the enemy without using too many cooldowns. This can be done through rotations and cover. Cover is the best tank in the game. Use it. Nice. Zarya is a high uptime tank. This means as Zarya, You are good at getting decent, consistent value rather than a tank like Winston, who gets much more value in short bursts than his value significantly D. Rob's after. The basic way...
No! And the music cuts out at the perfect time! What? What is going on? What is that? What is going on? What is going on? The music cuts out. And Zarya D. What?
Value in short bursts than his value significantly D. Rob's after. The basic way of looking at Zarya bubble usage is enabling your aggression, enabling teammate aggression, and disabling enemy aggression. To know what to focus on, look at team comps. Will your backline need more peeling because they're fragile and the enemy has a Genji tracer? Will you want to enable DPS because they can dive when and where you can't? Will you want to enable yourself because you're the only aggressor?
I mean, it's good. I liked it. That was good. I mean, obviously, there wasn't. You only had 1:30, so it's not as technically strategically impressive as Pokes, but you get it beefed. I liked it. I liked it. Pretty good. Not bad. I enjoyed it. Also, definitely bonus points for the production. That was hilarious. Holy crap, man. If you struggle against a certain hero, start to play that hero to learn what works and what doesn't against them. Oh, this is like an old one. I'm not gonna even rank this one. This is like 8 months ago. I mean, yeah, it's not a terrible tip. All right.
Now I'm going to demonstrate bad aim. Bad aim. Look. Look how much value, I didn't even do anything! Perfect demonstration. Today I'm going to teach you the most simple, yet the most effective way to play Kiriko. You've never seen anything more simple than this before. It doesn't...
Yo, Genuine, thank you for the 5 gifted subs! Congratulations to the K-Bot, Leander, Use Teeth, Ruff, and Nari.
Matter if you're bronze 7 all the way to top 2 in the leaderboards. I promise you, you can make it work. But awkward, you did it unranked to J1 Kiriko, why do you do it again? Because I came up with that 4-step plan to win more games than you lose. Alright, locking Kiriko. And I don't care if they ban me, they can keep banning me, I'm gonna keep getting accounts. They're gonna IP ban me, I'm gonna keep buying computers. I'm doing everything I can to educate you guys. First things first. Change the settings. What did I change the settings to? Well, first of all, my settings. But I go to Kiriko, I changed the sensitivity to this. I remove those, I don't like them. I don't know what that is, but I'll just keep it. And I switch my right click with my left click. That's what I do. I should have changed my crosshair, I will do it the next game. Usually when I play Kiriko, I would speed people out of spawn. What I will do, the 4-step plan, guys. Engage, close the distance, do it from an off angle, and disengage. Number 1, engaging, clicking W into the enemy team, closing the distance. Trying to do it from an off angle, and when things go bad, I disengage. 1, things go bad, I disengage, and now I heal the Ryan.
Okay, well, we'll watch a little more.
Step number 1, engage, close the distance, do it from an off angle. When things go bad, disengage. Now, I do not want to engage their spawn because it would yield very low rewards.
We'll watch one more
and
fight.
It has high risk. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna patiently wait when they cross, and what will I do next? Step number 1, engage. Then close the distance. Do it from an off angle, which is this. And disengage when things go bad. Engage. Things went bad, I disengage.
So, here's the thing. I actually like the 3-step plan. I think this should be a 3-step plan. Can you guys tell me which of these steps is incorrect, in my opinion? Which of these steps is wrong? Right. If you remove this, then we're good. If you do this, but you skip number 2, then we're good to go.
Number 1, the 4-step line, guys.
Now, there's obvious exceptions to that rule, but there are far more reasons to not close the distance as Kiriko than there are otherwise. Your hero benefits a lot more from range, and it's also a lot easier to distract and put pressure for longer periods of time. In addition, it's also easier to manage things like cover from a greater distance. You don't need to do damage. You don't need to do damage for this plan to work. You just heard him say at the start of this VOD pursuit that you don't need to do damage for this strategy to work. You just need to put pressure and distract. And it's easier and more consistent to do so from a damage. What he's doing here is he's significantly increasing the risk of this plan without really increasing the reward fair enough. Playing aggressively, passively, exactly. Create a deep angle, put offensive pressure from a little bit of distance, and then TP out. I don't like the close the distance part. Now, I would also like to see if we were to like insert a 4-step, right? This is what I would do, okay? Here's what I would do. I know this breaks the awkward mold, but this is what I would do, all right? You would do this, and then step 4 would be, it's too big. Step 4 would be heal your team. And he's already doing that, but like actually putting it down would be good. So it would look like this. Step 1, take an angle or engage. Honestly, actually, I think here's what we're gonna do. Here's what we're gonna do. Step 1, take an angle. Not bad. Step 2, engage. Step 3, disengage. Step 4, heal your team. This is my 4 steps. And then rinse and repeat. If you do it at range, it's less pick potential and your cooldowns are less than used. Yeah, I mean, I think you can definitely play aggressively. You can be more. I think your idea that this is you want to get your cooldowns forced is good. But I think, like, let me give you an example of what I'm talking about here. So this, for example, right here. There's no reason for him to get his cooldowns forced here. Like, this is just going in. He could do the same amount of pressure from this angle here, or this angle here, or almost the same amount of pressure, and keep going and keep going. You want to, like, here's the thing. I'm trying to think of a good way of describing this. You're thinking, I want to get my cooldowns forced, but why would you go out of your way to get your cooldowns forced when that's going to put you back at step number 4 or step number 1? Why not just stay in step number 2 or step number 3 for longer and not get your cooldowns forced? Why would you cash out when you're still winning? For example, he gets his cooldowns forced here because he goes in too deep, or I guess runs in the middle of the enemy team. But if he was able to hold the angle for longer, then he would not have even needed to go back to his team. Do you see this? Why not be in the backline doing more pressure? To an extent, same thing here. So, for example, why would you drop here when you could force their cooldowns and have just as high of a chance of getting a damage from this position right here? Just stand right here. I'm not saying play a million miles away, but play right here. This is good. I think this is a perfect application right here. This would be great. Stay right here, play at your effective range. Still very close, very kill threat. Have plenty of opportunity to get your cooldowns forced. You can also duck behind this cover here and sit in step number 2 and sit in step number 3. I've played Kiriko Pursuit. I've coached Overwatch League Kiriko players. I know what the hero does. And this is a difference in philosophy. And I think, to be very clear, what Awkward is coaching is really good. I think this is definitely something that every Kiriko player needs to be hearing this. I'm offering critiques of what I think could be made better about this 4-step plan. I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I'm saying it's a good idea. Just could be better. That's all. Now, would my 4-step plan be too complicated? Potentially. Potentially. I mean, I think, but I'm offering my honest opinion here.
Good GM player. Yes, you will not hit the same shots as I would, but you don't need to, because the power of this 4-step plan is the distraction. Even if you miss.
So
your
again,
shot,
you set up, you take an angle, you pressure from that, you engage from that angle, you TP out, you heal your team. That would be the cycle that I would go for.
Are distracted, your team can easily capitalize.
You say for lower ranks it's better to test their limits as much as possible, but the counter to that argument is in lower ranks it's also equally important for them to test to limit test, but to understand things like cover and uptime and timing, right? Because those are also skills, if not even more important, to be able to. For example, this looks like plat gameplay to me, right? Not in terms of the mechanics or the theory of how he's playing, but dropping in the middle of the enemy team. That's not something that you want to be doing. That's not something that one would do. So I would prefer, if we were going to be talking about aggression, to talk about intelligent aggression. You might be right and might be asking too much, but that's why I do one-on-one coaching sessions. Is like this. I try to like explain these concepts a little bit more in detail. Guys, can we take a chill on like the we're all sitting here like pretending that like I get the aggression is like rough, but let's not be like, I don't think Pursuit is being like overly critical. Let's not be douchebags. I appreciate the discourse back and forth. Like, I also respect Awkward's coaching, and I think he provides a lot of great coaching for a lot of players. So I mean, I don't love his smurfing stuff, but I mean, let's try and be a little bit more respectful if we can. That's fine, Pursuit, but the whole purpose of learning something is not just to memorize a plan, but to actually learn how to execute better. I'm already telling you what the 4-step plan would be. I don't think my 4-step plan is necessarily much more complicated. What your 4-step plan might be is a good springboard to then force players to play more aggressively. I just don't know that some of these habits that you're going to develop from this are optimal, and I think that there's ways that you could even get more value there. But yeah, I mean, it's good. I like it. I like this. This is good. This is now. I'm going to be a little smug here because. Gonna be a little smug here. Give me a second. Because Kiriko in Overwatch 2.
Not bad.
Kiriko is a highly flexible and mobile support with an incredibly fluid and dynamic playstyle. The goal of Kiriko is to abuse her mobility by assisting divers or flankers in powerful off-angle positions, or to take these positions herself. Her range on both her damage and healing, as well as her teleport cooldown. Do you see what I'm doing in this right now in this game on beta, or allows her to play split from her team safely? Keep in mind, the depth and greediness of these angles will depend on yours and the enemy's composition, as well as I'm beefing my own video because I released this the freaking day after Kiriko was released. Okay, that's my ego moment for the day. I told you how to play it the day after she came out.
Not bad.
I'm sorry. Okay. Again, if you have Edge, we could stop there. We've done enough, I think. But if you want to drop more TikToks, more Reddit posts, more YouTube videos, and Hammer Time, we'll probably do this at least every other week. We'll do maybe a couple different sessions. So I recommend checking them out. Pursuit, I appreciate your advice. I think your points about maybe it being so unbelievably simple that it's easier to follow is a really good point. Then how do you play Lifeweaver? I didn't tell you how to play Lifeweaver. I told you that Lifeweaver was garbage before he even came out in beta. And people were like, oh, he's a typical content creator overreacting. No, I'm not. I'm not. I told you. I told you he'd be trash. I hadn't even played the hero. I looked at the hero release and I told you he'd be trash. I also told you about Ramattra too. Yeah. I don't, yeah. Come on. Okay, let's do some Ask Spilo, and we'll go from there. I think what's valuable to learn here is the power of emphasizing the core principles. That's true, Revo Reverse. Yeah, that's true. That's true. The thing is, here's the thing with Awkward's video. Awkward's video is going to speak to a certain percentage of people better just because it forces them. It's a lot of the, okay, it's not even, it's the same reason why some people do better with my live coaching than they do better with my VOD reviews. If I'm in the ear, go, take the angle. Come on, no, do this. Did you guys see my Diva live coaching where I was literally in the Diva's ear? I was doing an Awkward. I was literally saying, go flank, get the back line, go, stop, use cover, go. And that really helped that player to like really stay focused. It was really simple, really focused. And then once they got better at it, then that's when we could start to talk about the exceptions to the rule, right? That's where you would, as Awkward, you would int on Kiriko over and over and over again. And then, you go back and you work with Awkward again, and Awkward's going to talk about, okay, like, let's try and play more for uptime, play more for cover and things like that, right? So it's just different ways of approaching it. It's just different ways of approaching it. I'll show my content if you just push ton of anti-Lifeweaver stuff. I mean, I feel like at this point it's just a broken record. It's too easy at this point. He's the worst. I mean, does anyone remember Urison Sombron release? He's easily the worst hero in my generation of Overwatch. I started playing right after those heroes were released. Can I coach your Fortnite VOD? Yeah, let's do Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Sombra was bad, but was she unplayable? Because Lifeweaver literally feels like unplayable. I mean, the guy's like a 40% win rate. I mean, that has to be an all-time worst. Yeah. Okay, let's do some Ask Spilo. I've been such a good boy. I've been catching up really, really good. I might even get really close to catching up now. Okay, can you and I go on a date and ranked queue? No! No! I'm not telling my wife. Is Joker Queen really hard meta? Because yeah, I do. I don't think she's. Okay. Here's the thing. I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I don't know. I think she's by far the strongest here in the game, probably. Like, yeah, she's the strongest here in the game right now. But I haven't like coached enough like live VODs. I've been focusing more on like owl meta stuff. That I don't know what it's like in like contenders or like high tier scrims. I would assume that she's hard meta, especially because contenders teams don't have like the greatest Winstons in the history of the universe. But I don't think you have to play her. By hard meta, I don't mean rock hard meta. We will see tomorrow, but we won't see tomorrow, right? No, we won't. It's the old patch for the rest of the playoffs or whatever, for the rest of the stage, which is a good decision because I think the meta right now in League is really fun. Yeah, they'll still play an old patch for a while, which is good because it gives them a time to fix it. Because I think a lot of the Junker Queen buffs were fine, but just not to the level that they buffed them. You know what I'm saying? I think like her bleed heal was too weak, but then they went too far. And then, for example, like the fact that you can build ult while your ult is still active, that needs to be changed. Yeah, they're just tweaks like that. Yeah, cheers, Moke. Cheers, Poke. I mean, I'm not trying to motivate you. I just enjoyed it. It was just a really cool concept that I never really thought about, honestly. Yeah. The problem is the healing while her ultimate is still active, and the amount of healing that multiplication percentage that I think those two are the two that they need to go for. They sometimes do solo Molotov, but I think this one's too ugly so that they won't. After say for 6 years, and Drummond asked him perfect why they swap between Max and Drummond when they both end up playing main offense. And Drummond said perfect. So we have both team players play both main sets so our opponent can guess what comp we're going to roll so they can play the guess game. And so we can level up both team players in the tank hero pool. What's your thoughts on that? It seems like too much effort. No, I mean, it's a reasonable answer. Here's the thing in Overwatch 2. I think in Overwatch 2, most teams have been leaning towards a tank needs to be able to play a lot of different things. Like you can't OTP anything. You know what I'm saying? You need to be flexible. You need to be flexible with how you play and what you play. I don't think there's anything wrong with specialists if the execution is good. Like, for example, when you put Hawk in on a Diva map, you're not going to need to swap off of Diva on that map really at all. So there's no point. Who cares? Hawk's in. Yeah, we know. We knew we were going to play Hawk. It's not a surprise. But with Shock, they might be splitting it more up where there are maps where you could see Ramatra, you could see Junker Queen. You don't really know which one. The problem is that I do agree that splitting practice time is a problem. It is absolutely a problem. So I think there's too much interpersonal issues that are questionable here for me to really answer because I don't know the situation behind the scenes, but it is a drawback. Yes, splitting playtime. What's the Spilo take on May? I mean, I think she's really fun. I'm kind of confused. We talked about this, I think, last or couple streams ago where they're talking about the rework to her M1, and honestly, it was just kind of confusing. Like, of all the things to worry about, the M1 is on May is like just not at all a priority for me. Like, it's like 74 on a list of things to worry about. It's a little bit annoying, but it's not that annoying. It's really not that big of a deal. Shut up, Cager. So I don't understand why it's a priority. I think she's fine. What's number one on the list? I mean, Lifeweaver has to be number one, right? Lifeweaver has to be number one. And then once Lifeweaver's quote unquote fixed, I mean, you can't have a hero not be viable. I think something like Roadhog, Bastion, something like these heroes that are not only totally unplayable but horrible to play versus. You need to rework those heroes. Queen nerfs, probably number 2. Yeah, small queen nerfs. Number 3, Junkrat, Moira, Mercy, somewhere along that list. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of heroes that I think need adjustments before. Lifeweaver's number 1 because he's just unplayable. Like, you can't have a hero that's just unplayable. It's just bad for the game. Sombra hate, yeah, Sombra needs I think a look at some point. Yeah. But I don't think she's a huge priority right now. I don't mind if Sombra remains a little bit weak in rank play and just is good for pro play. I think where she's at right now is okay-ish. She's not really that oppressive in rank, so I don't really care that much. Yeah, it's not a priority for me. Like, she's kind of weak in rank, but she's decent in pro play, so like that's kind of what we want, right? Yeah, seems okay. She seems okay right now. Is Phase taking Sigma as Diva a good move? Yes and no. So this is the thing you gotta realize with Diva, okay? Diva can beat pretty much any tank in a 1v1. Like, not all tanks, but a lot of tanks in a 1v1. But the problem comes when it's not a 1v1, it's a 1v3. And other tanks just have better ways of mitigating damage and putting out damage at the same time. The problem with Phase taking a Sigma as a Diva is the Sigma will take shield damage. The Diva will take heal damage. And what that means is that her supports will have to pump all their attention into the Diva, whereas the Sigma won't demand any support at all. And so you have a Sigma that will technically lose the trade because his shield will break fast, and then if the Diva gets really close. But the problem is then you have the rest of the Sigma's backline has been pumping damage into the Diva too. So it's almost never a 1v1. It's a 1v3 or a 1v2, right? And that's where Divas mess up. Well, they'll sit in the front line, they'll trade with the enemy tank, but they're not trading with the enemy tank. They're trading with the enemy tank and the enemy backline too. Diva is phenomenal beating Sigma in a 1v1, I would say. If you can close, not phenomenal, but she's okay if you can close the distance. And if it can make it a 1v1. If it's not a 1v1, you're done. Would buffing D.Va's mobility make her broken? I think D.Va's honestly pretty balanced right now. I think if anything, you would buff like her booster damage maybe and nerf her matrix duration. I think 3 seconds matrix duration is just too much. But phase taking Sigma as D.Va if it's a 1v1 isn't bad necessarily, as long as it's just Sigma. No, it's 3. It feels like 4, but it's 3. Any tips on attacking Powder or Iso first point as Sombra or Tracer? Yeah, give me a sec. There's really only one thing to do. Who's calling me Spilly? You know what Spilo spelled backwards is?
Oh, lips.
I mean, that's what it is. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so D. Yeah. So for attacking, first point, really just one strategy. There's two, but I mean, I don't know. There's technically two. So there's two strategies. One is coming from here and then doing your 1, 2, 3 into here, and then wrapping around from here. And then from here, you can either go upstairs or you can directly go upstairs from here. You can also shoot people from backline there, and you have the stairs directly from this angle as well. The other way that's probably gonna be more consistent for most of you guys is gonna be breaking through the choke here, especially if they're like holding high ground, right? You can go here, and you can either go up the stairs and contest them from the off angle here, or you can legit just wrap all the way around behind Mega Health back, don't forget, and then you're gonna have staircase access and mini, or not mini access, but an angle from here, and then you can even just wrap around from here. So yeah, really either cutting through the angle that way, cutting through the angle that way, and then just depending on what's on your screen, deciding about where you pressure or where you go. Am I bronze 5 or bronze 4? I'm not answering that question. I'm not answering that question. Freaking disrespectful, man. This is what happens when, you know...
Not bad.
This is what happens when boomers aren't raising children. Super disrespectful. I created a rather large PTR balance pack recommendation. All right, chat. You guys are about to watch me get hacked live on stream. Oh, the risky click of the day. Okay.
Not bad.
Answer it, little bro? I'm not answering it. I'm not your little bro. Watch your mouth, kiddo. Max duration reduced from 2.5 seconds from 3. Can now call mech 2 seconds after using 3 self-destruct. I mean, that's interesting. I'd like to see it tried. I don't know if it'd be broken or not, but it definitely covers some of the weaknesses with self-destruct. I don't know, it's interesting. I mean, one of the things that sucks about D.Va is self-destruct in the remake thing, right? This is I like this. I like this. I think it's definitely worth trying. Nice. Cute. Cool. Cute, guys. Cute. Meter strike. Reduce movement speed reduced from 2 seconds to 3. Affects sticky projectiles like magnet grenade, pulse bomb, and echo sticky bombs. Doesn't reset punch cooldown anymore. I think resetting the punch cooldown is pretty important because otherwise power block becomes even more trash. Seismic slam scaling with range would definitely be interesting as well. I mean, this is a big nerf though. That's my only concern is Doofus isn't very strong right now. I like these changes, but I think you need to give him something else too. You need the reset punch. This is nice, and this is nice too, and this is like a quality of life change, I think, for people playing versus Doom, but you need to give him something else. Adrenaline Rush. Yeah, this is good. I think this is a good multiplier right here. Yeah. And I also think that doesn't get ult charge when her ult is active. Fortify can no longer be hacked during it. Irrelevant, really. I would prefer to see I would prefer to see. I'm trying to think what I would see here. Honestly, just being able to be CC during Fortify would be fine, or allowing people to headshot. Yeah, there's a couple things with Orisa. I have to. I won't. It's too long of a conversation. Ramatra, projectile speed increased. Yeah. Void barrier duration decreased. Duration decreased. Annihilation Nemesis form cooldown set to 4 seconds at the end of Annihilation. Maybe, yeah. Maybe, yeah. I like this. I'm okay. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I know everyone's like, oh, if you had like multiple barriers, it would be broken. But like, would it not just be more fun to have like void barrier on like a cooldown like 6 or 7, like 6 seconds instead? I feel like it'd be so much more interesting, like what you would use with void barrier, like void barrier and his suckle little sucky spot. It's just terrible. Like it's so like irrelevant. Like it's definitely important, but it's not like near as valuable, important. Like I would much rather prefer if they like reworked his ultimate entirely, if they allowed void barrier to be on like a 4-5 second cooldown, but it had a bit literally like 200 HP, like Brig Shield, but just like a burst, you know, like a burst, you know. You could be so much more dynamic with it. It like actually let Nemesis form be a lot more dynamic, and then like actually, yeah, I don't know. There's like a couple of ideas. I mean, these are interesting. I think making his M1 be better would be good. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, sure. Health reduced, cooldown decreased. Tap plus left click heals like the current cooldown, but for 300 HP. Tap plus right click Rokan consumes food for 2 seconds. Instantly receives 50 temporary shield for every teammate he has in his other boosters. Super weird experimental patch thing. I appreciate the creativity though. I don't think anyone can really tell you whether this would be really bad or really good. I think probably really bad, but you know, I appreciate the attempt to give Roadhog some sort of utility or interesting engagement. Yeah. Duration increased, maybe, yeah. Dragon Blade damage increased, doesn't get affected by damage amplifiers. Health 150 normal HP, 50 shield HP. I don't think he needs the shield HP, honestly. I think that I'm in agreement with everything here. Just get rid of the shield HP and we're good. He doesn't need anything else. The ammo increase and all that is good. Damage reduced at 120 from 125. That's not really a change I've thought of before, but it's interesting. You can't one-shot 250 heroes anymore. Genji reload when wall climbing would be 1 extra buff if you wanted to give him a little bit, but I don't think he needs it. Riptide duration decreased. Yes, trash this hero. I don't think Mei needs the HP nerf, to be honest with you. This is good. This would be a big nerf. I don't think it's probably. I mean, this would need to be an overwhelming Sombra chain rework, I think. Damage reduction on Torb is interesting. I don't agree with it. Interesting. I don't agree with this unless you give her. This I would only agree with if you gave her back her sleep duration and or the nade duration, which both have been nerfed. Radius increased to 50 meters. Interesting. Stops at shields. It can therefore not stun through shields in the ultimate anymore. Okay. Life grip cooldown reduced to 15 seconds. Pulse healing removed. Tree heals every teammate race full when planted. That might be a little bit broken, but get unlimited ammunition, full knockback resistance, and 25% bigger projectiles. I don't know about the bigger projectiles, but it's interesting. Might be a little bit broken, but some of these ideas are interesting. I would prefer if Resurrect was just removed entirely. Yeah, like I agree with the life thing. Like he definitely needs more neutral power. His neutral is the worst in the game, and it's not even close. He is the worst neutral of any hero in the game. Doesn't heal Moira anymore. Deals 60 DPS instead of 50. Interesting. Disappears after 1 second and tanks would be, I think, weird. Shield breaks LOS could be good. Interesting changes. I think credit for a lot of the creative changes. I think this is I enjoyed this. This was good. It's kind of stuff that we would need to test more. Yeah, I like a lot of them. I mean, nobody's gonna agree on any change, like all the changes. Like it's impossible. Some of those I felt were a little bit crazy, but a lot of them I thought were pretty good, and some of them were definitely like I would want to see them tried out. You know? Stop talking! And my ass, Spilo! Chill! Supposed to be trim and fit like me! Stop! Okay, there isn't a channel anymore. I deleted it because it was, or I removed it or whatever, because it was only for that one video specifically. Because unfortunately, it's not something that we're going to be doing. Like, my Discord is bloated enough as it is. I was going through all the feedback forums. I'm probably going to have to cut down on a few channels moving forward. For example, Boomer and Zoomer Club, which I did not create, I will have you know. But yeah, we just don't have the space. If you hold shift, you don't have to press 3 dots to delete. Wait, what? What? Oh my days. I feel like what it must have been like to discover the wheel or fire. Wow. Thank you. That is phenomenal. How have I never known this? What other delightful treats are awaiting me in this weird technological world that I'm not aware of? Thank you for the gifted sub, Gregor. Is there a way you should approach which VODs get reviewed? Self-reviewed, if I'm asking for questions, I want to get a close defeat reviewed. Yeah, that's fine. However, does it make sense to also review lopsided games? I think if you had to pick one, you'd always get a close defeat. But I do think if you can get multiple, getting like a really lopsided defeat can be helpful. Because you can see how you do when you're under a lot of pressure. So for example, I reviewed one today where it was like a Genji VOD. And honestly, there's just like 3 or 4 fights where people were just staggering. There's nothing really to learn. But then there is occasionally you'll catch like a fight where it's like, oh, you know, it was a stomp and you responded to it terribly. You didn't help the situation at all. And because stomps do happen in Overwatch 2, it's the nature of 5v5. Knowing what to do in those circumstances, I think is really helpful, and seeing how you respond to that negative situation is also really helpful. So I think it is good to look at those, but it's like number 2 or number 3 in the priority list. What if Genji had 2 charges of dash? I don't like that as much. I think the dash damage is like such a integral and fun part of the hero. I watch and wait a minute, let me see. Often you take a decent position, but better angles exist to do the game. What should I look for when choosing an angle, especially on distance and range? 90% of the time. Cover, health packs, a little bit of high ground, better vision. Those are all factors, right? There's nothing there that I'm going to tell you that you probably can already guess. Like I said, distance, having an off angle from your team, health packs, cover, something like that. A little bit of high ground. Genji needs something to improve his neutral. He just needs more ammo. That's all. I think he needs more ammo, and then I think if you need to continue to buff his neutral, like the reload will wall climb, I just think a lot of people are bad at Genji. I'm not gonna lie with you guys. How do you do that without isolating yourself really hard? Play distance. And if you are isolated, that's how you play Overwatch 2. Can't all huddle up like sheep. How do I play with my EMP if Kiriko's hold the Suzu hostage and my team's starting to get kills so we could lose the EMP for an opener or whatever limbs? You could use it as an opener to try and like maybe force a burn a kill. Suzu is like kind of inconsistent at countering EMP if you hit a lot of people because it's a very small area of effect. It's not like a beat. You can also look for pressure on the backline, like to try and hack and pressure the Kiriko to try and force her Suzu. With the fix of Terminator screenshots coming out and Toby and Slime allegedly being able to ult track within 3%, what was the ult tracking situation when you were in the league, especially when Boneback got subbed in? Bro, ult tracking is just like, honestly, like being relatively accurate is the... Here's the thing with ult tracking. People obsess with like getting the percentage exactly right, when the more important skill with ult tracking is number one, actually knowing what to do with the information and actually using that information. And then number two, being able to ult track mid-fight. So like in these like long extended fights, they've probably built up this. That's where like things like lose cons come into play, where like you got a kill, but during the course of that fight, they generated their Dragon Blade, and so you all push in and you've used all your cooldowns, and then they press Q and they just kill all of you, right? That's where the ult tracking really matters. I think people way overestimate like, oh, you know, within 4%. Yeah, bull. Yeah, shut up. Nobody cares. Did you actually get a good, decent, accurate guess before the fight actually started about what they had? Did you make a good plan about how you're going to respond around it? And then like I said, the mid fight is crucial, guys. Like knowing what the ults they have before the fight starts is really important. But then as the fight goes on, being able to go, they have fill in the blank is way more important. Because like I said, these fights drag on. People are going to build ults, and then they're going to push, and they're going to die. They should just show everyone ult charge. What would you think about that? I mean, I don't think it would be good. I don't think it's necessary, really. I think there's a little bit of a mystery. Like, the more, like, you want... I think, to an extent, a human element in the game is good, right? You want the human element. I think a little bit of, not RNG, but, like, it takes a little bit of focus, you know? But yeah, I mean, I think people out there like within 3%. Yeah, but those guys, they're not even in the league anymore, so who cares? What are your thoughts on Lucio Kiriko backlines with ball tracer Sombra comps? I think they're good. No, I think they're good. It just depends on how you play it. Like with a Lucio Kiriko, you'd play a lot more like aggressively with your supports in terms of like closing the distance. Like, let's use Poke's terminology. You take more aggressive positions as Lucio Kiriko in terms of proximity, right? So that you would look to get on top of the Briggs and theoretically, like even with Harmony and Discord, your Kiriko can just play with the Tracer or whatever. I think it's okay. In the mirror, it might not be better, but I think something like an Ana Kiriko might be a little bit better because you don't necessarily need the Lucio as much, but the Lucio can still function. Throw your questions and ask Spilo, guys. I don't know if I can get to all of them today, but yeah. That way I don't miss them and then I don't answer them, and then you get ghosted and you go home and you cry, and then your mom asks you why are you crying and you can't answer, and then that destroys your relationship with your mother because your mother thinks that you just don't want to talk to her and you don't want to open up to her about your relationships, but in reality it's just a stupid streamer. But you're honestly too embarrassed to even say that you sit here and watch streams because Overwatch is a dead game. Your mother doesn't know anything about Overwatch, but she heard about the PvE cancellation, and she's on the typical surface area knowledge, she thinks that it's a dead game, and so she's humiliated in your behalf. And so then now she's not only thinks that you're obsessed watching a dead game, but she also thinks that you don't want to talk to her about the stuff, so she gets really upset. She talks to your father who you haven't spoken to in 6 years, doesn't want to speak to you, doesn't want to come home, but she calls him about this, and so your dad thinks that she's losing her nut because the son that she's been living with for 15 years all of a sudden has a problem. Like, come on, you've been living with her for 15 years, you're 27 years old, like what's the problem here? Why are you still living with it? And then your mom has to explain why you're still living at the house. It gets a really awkward conversation. The dad gets mad, that gets really angry, goes on a drunken bender, gets in a car accident, ends up breaking both of his legs, ends up at the hospital, has a monstrous hospital bill. Your mother goes to visit him. They get into an argument. They never speak to each other ever again. You've destroyed your only family relationship that actually matters because you didn't put your question in that Spilo. Thoughts on why pro teams will nano tracer? Is it for the increased damage burst potential in 300 XPG? Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, a lot of the time it's like you nano your tracer when your tank isn't in a good position or your nano tank isn't that good. Like a nano tracer is probably better in a nano diva situation. I think a lot of teams have been nanoing diva, but I think nano diva is kind of it's hit or miss. It's hit or miss. Yeah. If you were running like a ball tracer comp, like a nano ball is even worse than nano diva, so you would nano your tracer. What's with this May Sombra strategy I suppose the Al teams are running? Well, I'm glad you asked. Oh well, I made a video on my YouTube, and it's called The Revolution
Not bad.
Overwatch 2 Pro Meta, Sombra May, and the Lip Effect. You know, true story, I started to title this and it said Lip is dominating in the Overwatch League, and I was like, wait, this video doesn't even feature Lip. I'm false advertising. I have principles. I have principles. But yeah, I made a full video on it. I mean, I have principles. It's hard, man. Like, everybody clickbaits so hard, and I'm like, oh, I want to, like, I'm trying to, like, make it accurate, but, like, oh, man. It's what keeps me up at night. Not in the heroin. How would you do with the weekend queues, or would you just play the same? Just play the same. I think 90% of it is a placebo. It's an urban myth that gets persists through just because people talk about it all the time. I think if anything, the weekend queues, you're more likely to run into people that are just like screwing around and maybe not like the hard grinders, so that there's a little bit more RNG with the games. But yeah, it is what it is. It is your duty to spread misinformation on the internet. Yes, you should clickbait more. I need it, honestly. Yo, guys, want to have friends? Want to not be a pathetic loser? Want to gain 50 pounds of muscle in your glutes right now? Join my Discord, buy my coaching, subscribe to my Patreon, send me your social security number and your bank account number right now. But that's not really a clickbait because I didn't really tell you what to click. So then that's mixed signals. So like I said, I'm not very good at this. Why were the desk on Owl broadcasting that proper Genji would be shut down by a good Winston team? I don't know. I don't know. You would need to clip me the context. I will say that the chances are that they were probably saying it because the Sombra Tracer composition is better. So a good Winston team will run Winston Sombra Tracer, and Genji's not very good versus that composition because there's not a lot of good backline heroes to dive. So I think it's relatively accurate, but without full context, that's my best guess. Stop yapping, little bro. Stop calling me little bro. Okay. You can call me little bro, but little bro, we're not there yet. No, we're not there yet. Do main supports ever really need to learn Mercy beforehand? Because, like, honestly, y'all, I'm not gonna lie. All right, I'm gonna say it. No, you don't need to learn Mercy. I think having like a base level of Mercy is good. Like, I would not go cold into Mercy metas. I would play a little Mercy to get at least comfortable with their movement. But a lot of the weird thing with Mercy is a lot of the movement tech that you need to be able to do with Mercy in a ranked game doesn't really apply to Pharmacy. And you're only really going to be playing Mercy with Pharmacy or Echo. So there is value to learning Mercy tech, but ironically, the times when you see Mercy in pro play, whether it's contenders and Owl, is generally where the compositions where the Mercy movement tech is less useful. It's weird, you know what I'm saying? Like, you need to be like on crack cocaine and amazing all the techs when you're playing Mercy with dive and like more normal comps, but you're not gonna be playing Mercy with normal comps and pro comps. It's gonna be Pharmacy and Echo. So yeah, I would say no. Thoughts on donuts? Favorite type of donut? Bro, I haven't had a donut in years, man. I'm not gonna lie. I miss good donuts. Does anyone know of any like good organic, like not organic, just like real donuts without like injected stuff in there? Glazed donut is probably my favorite. I'm not gonna lie. Echo is a good answer in a Torb comp swipe. You put it in the channel, but yes, it's fine. Donuts from the gas station, man, like just like real donuts, like with like real flour and stuff, not like, you know, whatever they put in there. Make my own, okay. Man, okay. From an Al Pro perspective, the change the 500 benefit to main tank players more. I think players are a lot more about like indirect and supportive in terms of how they create space, and so like a diva, for example, was a lot more supportive on her tank, and so that aspect of that hero faded away. Same thing with Zarya. Now they can still control and assist space by helping their DPS and supports, but that one part of their identity is gone. So then they're just not as strong anymore. Where did the name Spilo come from? A Bionicle. Yeah, somebody already knew the answer. Yeah, it's Bionicle. It was my Bionicle, bro. Bro, I was a bad man when it came to making Bionicles. I had like this whole storyline set up. I was a frequenter of the... Okay, this is going to be a weird throwback. Does anybody remember My Lego Network? The weird Lego.com game they had, I want to say 2007, 2008. It was like this super weird social media thing where you like build your page and stuff. And Bionicle.com and all this stuff. So you were born in 2015. Okay. I was really involved in a lot of like the My Lego Network forums. That kind of springboarded me into like using a username, and I had always had my Bionicle's names, like my main Bionicle's name Spilo, so like I just use Spilo. I'm still actually friends with a few people that I met on the My Lego Network forums, but yeah, that is a throwback there. But yeah, and then that went into Stormcrow Productions, which was Lord of the Rings and a lot of this stuff. How can you get value playing Batista, Onyx, Zen against snipers? Yeah, I mean that's the real tricky thing with playing support in a sniper duel. When you're playing Zenyatta in a sniper duel, he's a hero that can contest snipers, but he has to be very selective about it. When you're playing Zenyatta in a sniper duel, you're playing a hero that has a lot of shield break, but he has to be but you need to be careful about the peaks. Batista is mostly played just because Lamp's good, Window's good, and he has good shield break, but Batista is not really that good versus snipers. There really isn't. So it's like Batista's like a really boring hero to play versus snipers, and that's why you're seeing more heroes like Kiriko being played who can actually like, okay, yeah, they don't win the shield war, but shield war is not that important in sniper duels a lot of the time. It's actually more important to like control angles and flanks, especially if it's not freaking Circuit Royale. So you like Batista is just mostly played just because shield war. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Shield war. And that's pretty much it. He's not particularly good against the snipers themselves. He's just good versus the Sigma in the sniper comps, really. Yeah. The irony is if you wanted something that's good versus snipers, you play like honestly something like, I wouldn't say a Lucio, but like, yeah, but you couldn't. Lucio's terrible in sniper comps, but yeah, it's complicated. Will you do a video on why London is doing so poorly? No, I don't want to do a video on London so poorly. I mean, it's a fair question, but I've been asked this a lot, and I'm not going to do it. I've got mates in that team. You know, I care about those guys. I know they're having a hard time right now, and I just don't want to punch them while it's down. Like, I've also worked with Skyripa in the past. I coached Lethal years and years and years ago. Like, so, no. It's really disappointing. And I think there's a, yeah, I don't know. I don't really want to talk about it. Why do people heal bot on an owl? Guys like Philip, for example, playing Insane Hunt is very low damage. A lot of it just depends on like what there is to do damage on. Fielder is like historically known as being a very heal bot support focused tank, but he also is really good at hitting shots when it counts. He doesn't go out of his way to pursue. Like, I think for a guy like Fielder, it's more about he plays more passive angles that don't allow him to put up pressure, but his DPS and tanks take more aggressive angles that demand more heal support. So their team is built around other people playing more aggressively and he directly supporting them. Whereas if for most players, you need to be playing like setting up your own plays and your own aggression. Now, I will say that the whole thing that Fielder is a heal bot is not true. I mean, it's hard to say because there's no like POVs, but I promise you, if you looked at a Fielder POV, you'd actually see exactly how much pressure that he actually puts out. So it's the only time where I would say that Fielder really truly was a heal bot was in the Kiriko meta, but that was Kiriko, that wasn't Fielder, and that was only Kiriko briefly during them. How do I find a better coach? It's garbage. Hate this so much. Ever considered doing any YouTube coaching before? You could give some good advice to early gaming content creators and early streamers, especially streamers too. What does that mean? What does YouTube coaching mean? What does YouTube coaching mean? KJ, are you here? Why are you named Twink in my Discord? Like, coaching your YouTube channel? No way. I don't know jack all about YouTube. I'm terrible at YouTube. No, I wouldn't do that because I'm terrible. I'm like, bro, I've been doing this for like years. Like I feel like I know, yes, I know more than the average guy off the street, but I'm like, bro, no. I don't even have an editor. No. I mean, I can give you an idea of how to grow a brand, kind of. And even then, I could give you some tips. But I will say I have had sessions where we talked about like getting into content creation. I have had coaching sessions where we talked about that. Several sessions actually. But it's very like general stuff. Like nothing super specific. Because I don't freaking read anything you say, Cager. I see the orange Cager sign, my eyes just blur. I just look right past it. No, I didn't like you in your maid dress. It's not so much as a scare I'm fearing for you. Can I coach your Fortnite? I mean, I don't know. If you want to drop it in Hammer Time, I'm not going to stop you. I have trouble knowing when, if to swap characters at times even as I change it because things are going well and it's a tilt swap. Oh man, that's a tough question. I didn't really try coaching Fortnite once. It didn't really happen because it was more of a highlight reel. But I was down to try. I bet I could coach Valorant, okay. I don't know. I was watching some like advanced Valorant analysis and I was like, bro, I could totally coach this game. It's so easy. Bro, I'm not gonna lie. Valorant, after coaching Overwatch, freaking Valorant and even like CS and stuff. Oh my days. So much simpler. Think about it this way. Is there something that I want to experiment or limit test with this hero? Do I think that there's room for experimentation and learning something? And if the answer is no, then swap. But how do you know what's from your character and not your confidence? I mean, I don't know. You need to look at yourself. You need to go, hey, are you confident? Are you confident? Hey, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. You know, have that conversation and then go from there. There's really hard to get good educational Valorant. Yeah, there was like some Wahooligin guys, the banana guy. Who's the banana guy? Someone was like, you look at this banana guy. And I'm like, I look at the click on the video and it's a freaking banana. It's just a freaking banana. It's just a banana talking on my screen. Wahooligin, or whatever his name is, and he was doing some coaching stuff or whatever, and I'm like, I'm being compared to a banana. A banana. Is it Wahooligin? I don't know, man. Banana man. Why are some OWL teams running Morilusu instead of Kirilusu? I don't think any teams are running Morilusu, are they? I think it's just mostly just like rush anti-dive stuff. Like Moira is pretty strong right now. Again, I made a video on this. You can look it up. Subtle self plugging my stuff in your channel so you can learn more about the League of Overwatch. Here it is. Check it.
Not bad.
You can check out why Moira, and there you go. Wait, did I just do something? Did I just fat finger something? Did I fat finger something?
Not bad.
Why is it doing this? Sorry guys, I don't know why it's doing this. It's not supposed to do that. I'm pretty sure that's why I like stopped doing it, because it kept going off. Oh yeah, the O2 blast analysis I kind of reviewed is because they were on Reaper. What's your opinion on Tracer almost always being a staple in Owl? I mean, I think it's fine as long as it's not. I think it would be cool to have like not only Tracer all the time. However, if there was one hero I wouldn't mind seeing all the time, it would be Tracer. Who's the best BAP to watch in Owl? I mean, the obvious answer is Shu. Yeah. I think RuPaul is also really good. But good luck trying to like watch them because, you know, no POVs, so have fun. Reported block and docs. Stop talking in my channel! Why is he saying penis? Why is he saying penis in my channel? Why are you asking this question? Why? I swear, Doey. I'm gonna break. Oh my gosh. Oh. I've been watching King Tracer a bit to get that hero up to par for Ashe. On a map where she's really weak, like Circuit Royale, I feel like it's really hard to learn. Should just bother. Yeah, I think like Circuit Royale is a good one to not play on. Yeah, but there are very few maps where Tracer isn't going to work. So I won't talk in your channel again. How about you just don't ever speak? Period again. In a coordinated team, what are some of the more responsible ult track rollouts? Yeah. I think you know, you need to have like ult track, then fight plan. Like those are the ult track, fight plan, engage timing. By far the most important things to communicate. And then from there, you know, communicating like scouting, cooldowns, like the really important stuff is helpful as well. But if you don't have, like, I swear, probably 95% of my team coaching sessions are, hey guys, do you ult track? Hey guys, let's hear you guys fight plan. Do you consistently fight plan? Hey cat, no, why not? Do it, right? I mean, I'm telling you guys, it's what separates the bad teams from the elite teams. Which ones do you consider probably skippable for Tracer? I mean, honestly, Circuit Royale. Chad, are there any other maps that are skippable for Tracer? Are there any other maps that are skippable? Horizon Lunar Colony? Thank you for that. I'm trying to think. Are there? Havana? No, Havana's okay. It's hard, yeah. It's harder, but I think it's still okay. Yeah, I think Havana maybe, but honestly, even Havana is just like it's just a skill issue. 4-week zombie apocalypse in 24 hours. How am I preparing? I'm going to get a boombox with an infinite supply of batteries, a American flag man thong or a mankini, a pair of flip-flops, maybe Crocs, a club spray painted pink, and I'm gonna walk down the streets with my boombox, playing Stayin' Alive by the Bee Gees, and my American flag thong, wearing nothing else, with my pink club, and I'm good to go. I'm just daring any zombie to come close to me. Can you imagine it? You know, staying alive, staying alive, staying alive. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, it's good. We are good to go. No Pepper? I mean, who do you think is carrying the club? Hey, Sugar. Also, sometimes it's fine to start to play. I feel like I'm not alert. Caffeine feels like an unhealthy. I think caffeine is a occasional thing, but the problem with using it frequently is it's not healthy, and it's also something that your body adapts to, and so then therefore it's something that you start to rely on just to perform at like a base level. So it's something that you really don't want to rely on, because it's not just like, oh, it's not healthy. It also just makes you perform worse, because eventually you're going to rely on it just to perform at the base level that you were performing at before. Other than Sugar or other maps where Sigma Poke comps are better than any alternatives, I mean, I really do think that for most players, playing Sigma on like maps like Junkertown and Havana are still really, really good. You're not something you see on Owl all the time, but it's the easiest and best hero tank for the map, and the best comp for the map. Yeah. Caffeine in moderate doses has a positive impact on your health. Yeah. From what we know, like as in moderation, it's good. But you're not going to get caffeine in moderate doses from an energy drink or something like that, or a caffeine, any sort of like 5-hour energy or energy boost. Define moderation. I'm not going to, because I haven't looked up the studies. You could look up the studies. There will be recent studies on it. 2 coffees a day would probably be okay. Yeah, probably, but I don't know the exact numbers. You'd have to look it up. There will be studies on it though. Why have you stopped hammer timing me? You're suffering from success. I mean, but here's the thing, Cager. All right, so there's 2 reasons why I'm not hammer timing you. Number 1, I know that your stuff is going to be good. And number 2, I've already watched all your stuff, pretty much. I've not seen all of your most recent stuff, but I pretty much watch every video you put out, so it's kind of boring for me to hammer time something I've already watched. So there's your compliments. Screw off. Will Sombra Genji Winston dive ever become a thing again? Probably not. I think Tracer's just too strong. I think Tracer's too strong in the neutral, and I think also, I think it was because teams weren't. It's not just the Tracer's too strong. It's that teams have evolved their understanding of like dive neutrals, so that like it's easier to play around EMP, Nanoblade, Primal, and whatever than it has been in the past, because you can just have a really dominating neutral, right? Like in the past, it's like teams would just play for ult cycles and win, but now I don't think at the pro level that like you just lose automatically to powerful ult cycles. Yes, I watch your stuff, Cager. Stop acting surprised. I've told you this already, you moron. Proper Kevster Tracer? I don't know. I haven't watched enough of them recently to know. The fact that I'm going is probably a tough one. I can fly to America to box you? I mean, you could try, yeah. You guys ever seen those funny like cartoons, like where it's like the guy, he got his hand on his forehead and the little kid is going like this, you know? And it's just like, oh, good try, Sonny. That's the Cager effect, right? Okay. Do you think Kevster's the best Tracer player? What happened to the Play Chat collab? The what? Oh, Plat Chat collab? Okay. All right. I messaged Reinforce. I wanted to interview Reinforce. Reinforce is like, yeah, let's do it. Oh, we can't do it because of Christmas. Okay, so I message him, and then I get ghosted. And he's like, oh, maybe I can have you on Plat Chat. And I'm like, yeah, sure. So then I get ghosted for the interview. I get ghosted for the Plat Chat. I think I bumped the message, or somebody messaged it in YouTube chat, and Reinforce goes, oh no, I ghosted him, I feel so bad, you know, whatever. This was like months ago. But he still didn't respond to my message, so... happens, man. No, Reinforce is not human trash. He's just a busy guy, but it is what it is. He's not the only guy, too. So there is one really big content creator who I might be collabing with in the future, but we haven't been able to find a good time. They've been very busy. And there is another content creator who is and was very kind, but just never really got back. We had something set up, but it just didn't happen. Okay? It was really, really, really annoying. And then there was a third content creator who was really, really big, and I'm not making this up, okay? I'm not going to tell you who this is. This person, I got into I reached out to them. We got to set up a Discord call. Guys, I sat in a voice call with this person for almost 2 hours. and we typed up an entire script for a YouTube video idea. And all sorts of stuff. He gave me tons of some advice, this and that. We're gonna do this. He was already working on it. Ghosts me completely. No, it was not Karq. No, it was not ML7 or Guru. No. And I messaged them afterwards. Nothing. I messaged them one more time a few weeks afterwards because guys, we had a whole Google Doc, all these ideas typed out. We had a voice call for like 2 hours. Nothing. And I still to this day don't know what happened. So I've had 3. 1 was nice, but that's been too busy for it. Maybe we'll do it in the future. 2 was really nice, but kind of ghosted me. And the 3rd one was straight up. We got it all figured out and completely ghosts me immediately after the call. I'll tell you who it is over DMs, Cager. It's not Karq or Stylosa for the last one. Okay, what is your opinion on Gator saying coaching is overrated? The coach, I mean, he's right. He is right. I mean, the coaching is more about building a proper culture, building the proper team. And I think what he says as well is it's like if you have really, really good, smart players, coaching is more about developing the environment and then just kind of controlling. Like the problem with Overwatch is like if you're teaching the game, like a ton of teaching the game, that probably means that your players kind of suck. No offense. Like, players like Lip don't need to be coached how to play Sombra.
07.
Players like Lip need to be reminded of the importance of communicating these things with their team at a specific time, and then, oh, we're going to be having you play Hanzo. Reminder, this is the angle that we want you to take. It's like stuff like that, right? It's a lot more team play stuff, and so I think it is overrated. I do think it's overrated. Yes, I do. I think maybe not to the extent that Gator believes, because Gator has also been very heavily involved in player-led teams. So there's an obvious bias there, but I don't think he's wrong. I don't know, because the reason why, oh, you derpy, thanks for the sub, mate. The reason why Rush is regarded as a good coach is because he's had good results. Boy. Yo, Pure, thanks for the raid, mate.
This is a trash can.
I appreciate the raid. We're doing some Overwatch question stuff. Teach them? I can't help you there. I'll try, though. The thing with Rush is that he just has success. We don't really know if he's good or not. We assume that he's good. He's been part of a good organization for a long time, but you just don't know. I mean, this happened all the time in Tier 2, right? You get these coaches in Tier 2 that were, because I don't know enough about Owl to really tell you. I know there's a few dukers, but like in Tier 2, there are coaches that are just wildly overrated. They didn't know the game that well. They weren't that good leaders. They just piggybacked off of successful rosters, because a roster is 10 times more important. And having player-led teams is a very important thing. Like, you can't call plays from the sidelines, guys. So I think Gator is definitely underselling coach's importance, but I don't think he's wrong. Favorite meta to coach? Onizin, Winston, Trace. I don't know favorite meta to coach. Favorite meta to spectate and coach, I guess, was the double flex support Winston meta, stage 2, last season. What rank do I think I am? Top 500 OVs? Are set plays so much of a thing? Yes, but they're more of a thing in mirror matchups. So like, I imagine in Owl right now, there's probably a decent amount of set plays in Winston Sombra Tracer mirrors, because that's a mirror that we see fairly frequently. I would imagine there's a decent number of set plays with like Ramatra May comps, because that's a mirror that we see fairly frequently. A lot of the other comps, though, if it's not a mirror comp, it's harder to set up set plays and harder to get practice. So like Kiriko Winston, the playoffs, there were probably a decent number of set plays. Reaper as well. What's the skill gap between GM5 and GM1? GM5 and GM1 isn't that big. GM5 and top 500 is massive. Because there's a lot of GM5 players that were like low masters, high diamond players. So will I add new sub emotes? I mean, at some point, yeah. There's a lot of like quality of life, like sub emotes, channel points, general stuff that I'm just super far behind on. KDG, I don't know enough about KDG to comment. Have I thought about collabing with Chasm? I have. Favorite social security number? 326-417-2323. How would you owl change if you could live coach in the game like CSGO? It would change a little bit, but unless you had like, I mean, it wouldn't benefit that much. It would just be it'd be a very, very minor change. Is 40 minutes of warm good? More than enough. More than enough. And I mean more than enough. Get Quaked On followed me on Twitter, so who knows? We'll see. What would you think of having coaches actually observe players and call shots from the sides now? I think it would be bad for competition. I think part of the fun of OWL is that you get to like train players to learn and understand the game and read it more on the fly and allow them to have the freedom to like creatively interpret. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think like even like in professional sports, like in professional American football, like having training a quarterback in a system to where they can actually run the plays themselves and like be able to create and improvise is like, that's like where peak American football happens, right? And like I think like that's kind of like I wouldn't like it in Overwatch. I think more ownership for the players is more fun, honestly. It also means that I can absolve myself from blame if stuff people messes it up. Who's a player you really think had the potential to be good in OWL but never really did? I think Scalar back when Uprising Academy probably could have been good in OWL. Potential to be good in OWL. Let's see somebody who actually got to OWL. I don't know. I feel like there's a million people that could come to mind, but I can't quite put my finger on them. Glister, yeah. I think Glister, potentially. Logix. Yeah, maybe. I think Cloudy's too much of an OTP. Give me some names, chat, if you guys can think of any. Thoughts on Anions, Kiriko, and Nixel? I haven't seen it played. Spreem. I think Dalton was a pretty solid player. Dalton was definitely Vancouver's best player in 2021. Agilities, yeah. Yazin, yeah. Yazin, I think, is a very talented player, very, very mechanically gifted. Trill, yeah, actually that's a good one. I think Trill is a great shout. Trill, really ugly team environment, really ugly circumstances. I think Trill is 100% a wasted opportunity. I don't know if you guys even remember Trill. I remember Trill. That's a good one. Sumito. Sumito had a bad Hanzo in 2020, y'all. I'm not gonna lie. I think Trill is the one I like the most so far that's been mentioned. You ever thought about getting into broadcasting like Jake? I have. I was in talks with some of the Overwatch guys about maybe doing tier 2, and I just never really pursued it because my content started taking off. Valentine, yeah. With all the coaches as 6 players, who would probably be the best? Now, I will say this, when it comes to Jake, there's a certain correlation between me and Jake, besides our shared first names, that might be showing itself in the next week and a half in a potential collaboration. OGE, maybe, yeah. Do tier 2 casters get paid okay? I have no idea. So stay tuned. Not a Jake collab, no, but something associated with Jake. I'll let that vague suggestion float around there for a while. With all these coaches, 6 players, who'd probably be the best? I mean, Gator has to be, right? Well, what are the teams? I don't really know. I don't know. Favorite pasta shape? What are guys? Let me look at these pasta shapes, y'all. Pasta shapes. What do we got here? Rigatoni, yeah, solid. Oh, dude, I'm not gonna lie. I freaking look at this and I'm like, oh. Penny. It's a little bit too. It doesn't have enough grippers. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't like absorb the flavor. Yeah, DeFran's not. Gator's not a 6 player now. This is pretty good. This one's underrated. It's got lots of grippers. You know what I'm saying? This one's a classic. Gotta love it. Ugh, not as much that one. A little too many grippers. That one's good. I don't know what my favorite is. I don't know a lot of these as much. This one's good. Fettuccine is really good too. But I don't know how much of it is associative just because I think of fettuccine Alfredo. You know what I'm saying? This one's pretty good too. Shells. Nah. What the heck? Orzo? No. No. Linguine, I don't know. I haven't had enough of that one. Rotini's pretty good. Lasagna is fine. Doesn't even like count as a. I guess it's technically a pasta shape, but yeah. That one's just weird. No. No. Well, yeah, no. This is okay. Tortellini, I haven't had enough to really tell you. Macaroni is good. Rotel is Nocini or Noci. Manicotti is alright. Bucatini. He's okay. Yeah, I don't know. Mostly probably, honestly, probably I'm probably basic with my pasta preferences. Is it good watching VODs for certain heroes even if I don't play them? No, unless there's something about the hero that you don't understand or you feel like you need to synergize better with, it's probably not worth your time. Nietzsche? How much would, if age affects skill, you can get an owl? Like, would you need to be in your 20s to get a pretty owl? It's the biggest thing with age in Overwatch League is ability to commit. That's it. And interest. That's all. That's all. The reaction time is like minuscule, but kids have more time and are more interested in like pursuing crazy stupid things like Overwatch League. So that's the only difference. As Tracer, when are you supposed to play objective frontline as opposed to go off angle swings? Do you only play objective if the objective isn't off angle? Like if your team is clearing high ground, then you staying on point is technically an off angle and also allows your team to clear high ground without having to worry about point. So whenever you see Overwatch League Tracers worry about cart or point, it's because the rest of the team is taking space elsewhere. You never play objective frontline, ever. You will play objective, but you almost never play frontline. What separates the best, such as me, from players lower life? The ego. You don't have enough of it. Keep working at it, though. You'll get there. You'll get there someday. All right, chat. It's been good. It's not been that good. It's been okay. Could have been better. Will be better. We'll be back on Saturday with a companion stream. Hopefully the games don't suck. Now, the nice thing is because I'm a considerate gentleman, I have actually changed my coaching sessions on Saturday such that I will be able to start stream when Overwatch League starts, approximately. So, if you guys are interested in watching a co-stream in Overwatch League, I'll be there on Saturday, at least for a little bit. And we'll be starting at 3 instead of 4. I love you too, Steel Toast. I love you too, Random Citizen. Let's hustle right over to Blur. Posture check. Chat, farewell. It's been good. It's not been that good, but it's been okay. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Hop into my raid to Blur OW. Somebody in my stream or Discord who is a subscriber, so naturally we're gonna toss them a raid. I will see you guys in 2 days. 3, 2, 1. Farewell.